Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the TRACKILICIOUS GT4 Monday Rookie Series. We are back here at round 5 at Kyalami, and we are in for a good one, folks. Much like last night's GT3 Championship, we've got another close one on our hands, and while we don't really encourage looking at the statistics from the rookies, we've got a one-point battle between Matt Melanson and Mr. Rue tonight. But talking to you through the action, I'm Carson Kass. Joining me tonight, as always, Mike Nause.
Yes, indeed, Carson. We have a jam-packed evening for everybody here tonight. Not only do we have our rookie championship ahead of us, we have the GT4 Open, and that's going to be a little bit later on. But before that, it's 2 rookie races. We have 3 total races here tonight, Carson, and I could not be more excited.
Yeah, Kyalami is one of my favorite tracks to watch and commentate, and I know it is yours as well, one of yours as well. It is just absolutely electric racing all the way through. Dangerous track, dangerous overtakes, and dangerous results typically here on the rookie stage. We've got 2 20-minute sessions, but before that we've got a 20-minute qualifying session. If you're curious, Open is about the same here. Basically the same setup as the GT3's last night if you're looking for pit stops, but there's not pit stops. There's no mandatory pit stops.
Not in the rookie race, that is. In the GT4 Open, though, there will be, and that'll be a little bit of a different variable for any of those rookies transitioning over to that series. But in the meantime, welcome along everybody that is here tonight. I see we got Moriko joining us, Steven Tomazic, and I'm sure more to come. It is a Monday stream, the absolute, I think, everybody's favorite night here, the Rookie Championship. And as you'd mentioned there at the beginning, Carson, 1 point separating the top of the Rookie Championship. I know, again, we don't count score here necessarily. It's not about the points, but it still adds a different layer of an excitement, and we know for a fact that those 2 drivers are maybe competing with each other just a little bit.
Yeah, Matt Melanson and Mr. Rue have put in, first off, unbelievable practice times. We talked about for the first race, Mr. Rue set a staggering amount of practice laps, about 205 at a very long track, and basically drove from Nashville all the way down to Miami if you were counting in American miles and American distance. But it's been pretty insane, and I think we're going to see quite the same thing. These 2 have elite pace, and maybe not GT4 rookie pace, probably GT4 open pace, but they don't really have the time, and some of them don't really have the interest in doing it, so they stick here. They're a seasoned rookie or a rookie on SimGrid, which is how you qualify to be on the GT4 rookies section. And if you're looking into that or want to join and are interested, you can check out the SimGrid. But we're going to jump right into the calendar here.
Oh, I thought that was your segue. Sorry.
Either way, segue or not, I'm here and I'm ready for it. The GT4 Rookies Championship. You're live watching it right now, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's every Monday on the dot, 8 Eastern, all the way till probably about 11 Eastern with how many races we've got. 2 for the rookies, 1 for the Open right after this. Kyalami this week, round 5. Next week, Zandvoort, Valencia after, which is a track we don't see too often. Tuesdays, we've got the finale of the Street Stock tomorrow night at the USA International Speedway Dirt Championship on iRacing. If you're curious about ever doing dirt races, you can go jump in tomorrow. It's quite the interesting feat. Synthra Drive Wednesdays will return July 29th, so just 2 days in a week. And GT3 West Coast will continue this weekend, or this Wednesday, rather, in Laguna Seca, then Bathurst Brands Hatch after that, ending August 7th. On Thursdays, we've got the Super Formula Light Championship, which we headed to Oschersleben on the 18th of July normally, it's actually the 25th of July. We pushed it back a week due to iRacing having it down last Thursday. It'll end, I believe, on the August 1st. And then every Sunday, our crown jewel, the GT3 Championship, will return in 6 days at Spa-Francorchamps, where we see a bunch of drivers trying to get the final section there. Quinn Smith, Kenneth Portis, and Ricardo Rivera all dueling for that championship battle. And Quinn Smith not going to be able to win at Spa-Francorchamps. But this Saturday, Bathurst, the Road to SRO Community World Classic, 6 hours of what will be an amazing stream. And make sure you go tune at that starting at 11 a.m. Eastern. But Mike, let's jump right into the action, the rookie action. You got 20 minutes on the other end. Here is 12:55 remaining in rookies. We're on board with Drew Freiberger. As you can see, Matt Melanson and Mr. Rue already top of the table.
Certainly are. 150.9 the time to beat for the right now. Mr. Rue not too far behind at 80 thousandths of a second separating. We also have Adriano Moro behind in 3rd position for the time, and Kyle Heslin in 4th. We also have Moriko VR in chat shooting for a podium tonight. I saw, Moriko, that you were pretty happy that you managed to make it into the 50s tonight, or in the for the practice server, I should say, that we had. So congratulations for putting that in. It was clearly a lot of hard work to get you there, and and we'll see if it pays off. Shooting for that podium. We hope to see you up there in the interview room.
And if you're curious how popular Rookies has gotten and how much practice these drivers put in, when you look at the times on Discord, you have to download the file because it is now a .txt file. Discord can no longer hold the amount of information and time that we have, but there are two drivers that I know have a lot of information about this track in their head because they've set individually both over 150 laps. Matt Melanson and Mr. Rue have just done everything. It feels like they are the juggernauts and the titans to beat in this series, and the points would point that out. They each have their drop round. Mr. Rue on a bit of a better drop round than Matt Melanson. He really needs to not miss another race if he wants to win this series, but we don't count wins here. We definitely don't count points, but we do.
We don't, but yes, they technically are counted for, I think is the better way of putting it. Also, we got Nikki in chat. Welcome, cheering on Mr. Rue and throwing in the Doge dancing. I love that. The Jake Wells emote joining the chat here. Kyle Heslin, also, I want to say, on a flyer right now and looking quite handy. It's 1.6 tenths, though, off of, they're 1 second and a half off of the pace for the time being. The number 69 Porsche in that back sector, 5 tenths so far, and coming now down through the S's and beginning his ascent. He's got quite a bit of time on the cards, so very much thank you to Alisa Coconut. Thank you very much for the follow.
Yeah, Kyalami is a very, very fun track to drive, and maybe not as much in the GT4s in terms of having the car stable at all times, but Kyle Herden is in 4th right now, is set a time 1.6 seconds behind the leaders. The number 69 car has been up there throughout this series, not this season. It's just been a matter of their own mistakes and others, to be honest, plaguing them and causing them to fall down the order. So they'll hope for a good, clean race tonight. But to be honest with you, Mike, there's no mandatory pit stops in the Rookies, but I would not be surprised if we got a lot of them tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you can already see that there's going to be some drivers starting off in pit lane. Moriko Yatanashi, one of those drivers, still shooting for a podium, though. Has the confidence in that from a last to first. And now people might be asking, well, what are those disqualifications for, Mike? And, well, I'll answer for me. I'm glad you asked. And that's because they did something maybe a little bit naughty in the previous race that cost them a look at by the stewards. And speaking of a look at, holy smokes, Kyle Heslin is wheeling this car right now, wrestling an octopus, and unfortunately, he loses that fight and will need to invalidate, and that is going to be qualifying over for Kyle Heslin.
Yeah, battle with the Delta there rather than a battle with the car. Manages to save it, but couldn't save the lap there. Invalidated it right on the edge. Just had those wheels too far off the track. But yeah, the Rookies is a super interesting series. We really punish lap 1 crashes and lap 1 collisions. Yes, collisions. That's the word I was looking for. I don't know why I couldn't think of it. But throughout the other sections, there is not as much punishment as there is in Rookies. We don't do traditional time penalties here. You get a quali ban if you've been really naughty, but or not that naughty, but you get a pit start if you've been really, really naughty, as you would say, and that would be typically more than 1 quali ban, but it's very different in the Rookies, and it encourages having a safe race despite lap 1 being the most aggressive.
And speaking of aggressive, Noah Johnson throwing it around at the exit there of a Sunset into Clubhouse Bend. Ahead of him, Jaeger Karu is on track. One thing I'm noticing here, though, is there's a bit of a delay. So the 10-minute mark was the virtual checkered flag where the even plates can come out. And typically you see a storm of cars heading and flooding onto the circuit. This time, a little bit different. Are they waiting for the track to get rubbered in? Or, well, do we see some other cars now coming out for their outlap, but a little bit delayed to the party?
Yeah, I think that's just a matter of, for some reason, we've got a lot more odds this year than evens. I've noticed that throughout the sections. There's a lot less odds than there are evens, but there's guys who have quali bands and all of that, and they happen for some reason to be the evens. We go odds first 10 minutes this week, evens the second 10 minutes, and Jaeger Karu will lead them off like a batter, hoping to get on base here for Karu, but 11th already. You can see how many odds there are compared to evens. There's only 6 evens out right now on track.
Yeah, and here is Karu on the outlap, or rather the first flyer tonight. Goes into the first corner, rather the second corner. We're going to call it the first corner, I think, for the most part, as nobody really counts the kink. Let's be completely honest here. The first left-hander is where it really matters, and then up into Barbecue. You can swing it around for the left-hander and try to straighten the car up for Sunset. This corner, if you get down to the evening time, absolutely blinding with the sun cresting over the lovely hills that you can see there in the distance. That's going to be the top of Liakop. You can see in the background as you head now, though, Clubhouse Bend. The only thing the driver that is going to be focusing on right now is getting ready for the S's. Ride it nice and wide there. Could maybe use a little bit more track. Not quite on the full limit yet is Jägerkaru, but this is going to be a decent banker lap to say the least. Nice and tidy there. Bit of a lift through the S's and punching it back up the hill towards the top of Liakop.
We'll push through Liakop. Now it's a hairpin turn that includes 2 turns technically. This is 10, and then the slight straight means that this next turn is 11. And he goes down to the other section now. It's a very fast downhill under the mine shaft here, and he will just try and keep it as far as he can to the left side here. Get as much time, every thousandth counts here towards Crocodiles. Now a very, very dangerous turn that will have a lot of overtakes and a lot of rear ends mashed towards that other end now as he heads now down to turn 14. Then to the infamous sausage curve of Cheetah. Barely misses it, gets a little grass, but honestly, goes pretty perfect through that section. Breaks right there at the end at 16. He will be done with that first flying lap, and not a bad banker lap, I have to say.
Well, we'll see as he crosses the line here. What is it going to be for Jägerkaru? And it isn't bad whatsoever. Puts himself 4th quickest at a 151.7. Gets topped, though, ahead. Wait, a 151.7. Yes, okay, that makes sense, as that was a 151.4 ahead of him as his last lap. Okay, I understand now. Just looking at the timing charts, it was a little bit confusing in that moment. But either way, Kyle Heslin slips in behind him for the time being. The rest of the even plates, though, Noah Johnson so far topping for them up into 3rd position for the 42.
Yeah, I thought that was Vimolik with that purple and yellow car and the Aston Martin, but it was not. That's a livery I'll never forget, and those colors instantly make me flash for a certain reason on the side of that car, which we might see later if they're participating tonight. But the Brazilian driver, Juan Martins, is 6th overall, and not a bad start for a lot of these drivers here on the rookies' ends. I'm very curious to see where a lot of these guys are going to end up at the end of this race, because I know Jägerkaru, one of those guys who's very, very quick in race pace and very, very quick in quali pace, but his own bane has been his own mistakes, unfortunately, and that's one thing that he really needs to work on and has been working on, to his credit, Jägerkaru. Just a lot of unlucky moments this season, I have to say, but been very quick. Has an opportunity to win tonight, or get a podium tonight as well, and not too far out of it. He'll start 5th at the very best right now, or the very worst. We'll have to see through the last 4 minutes. He should get about 2 more laps in here.
Yeah, and that is a very good point as well, as consistency is key in these leagues, and that's one of the reasons that we have the Rookie League in general, is simply to improve on your consistency. It's not about the points at the end of the day. We don't really care about the final result. It's about how you learn and how you improve along the way. And again, we have plenty of rookies that have managed to make their way into the, or I guess, graduated, quote-unquote, the Rookie Championship and moved on to bigger and better leagues, and there are going to be a few this season joining them in the ranks. Though, as we see there, Jägerkaru crosses the line. Slight improvement, managed to go 151.3 this time around.
A win for Canada there. The maple syrup colored machine on the front, I'm realizing now. It kind of looks like a Duracell battery, but with maple syrup smeared all over the front. And through the other end, the number 2 car, Ryan Eason, all lowercase. That's some aura, I have to say, the number 2 car. Piloted by the American. I believe this is his first season in the rookies. It feels like he got a blue flag, unfortunately, on an invalid lap, I believe. Yes. He'll hit the line and start his final lap with 2 drivers behind him. Does not want to get to the other end.
He should be able to get more than a couple laps in. It's not his final.
Hey, I was maybe looking at the wrong time. It's 1 minute and 50 seconds. He's got 2 laps now. Probably just about. Yes. Unless he has a severe accident. I was waiting for it to happen just because I said something, but Ryan Eason keeps it steady. He's got 2 cars behind, and invalidates his lap right there. Goes sideways, nearly loses the car, but the car's behind. I don't normally like fighting in qualifying. If I was one of them, I would just let them go. But they're both still fighting for that time. Juan Martins capitalizes, I guess, there through Sunset towards Clubhouse, and you know, Mike, I'd love to be at Clubhouse during a sunset, but for the drivers, these 2 turns can be a nightmare as Will Menser gets around. The number 12 car there just goes a bit deep, I think, letting Menser by.
Yeah, Juan Martin's just said enough is enough on this one. I've already, my lap's already ruined. I don't even care at this point. I can get one more good lap in. I'm not going to waste my tires. Just save it for the end, and that is a smart call by Juan Martins. Get some clean air on track because there is plenty of it. This is a massive circuit at Kyalami. Well, maybe not quite massive, but a 2.8 mile circuit, 4.5 kilometers, and you can see how much open air there is all over the circuit, yet these two drivers have managed to be magnetized to each other somehow.
Yeah, so much room on the circuit, and including the less cars, you're not even in the race yet. They've still managed to find each other. Will Metzer braking way, way early to let Easton go by. He's disappeared. The orange car is gone. I don't know where it's ended up, but Dr. Porkchop, I feel you on that one. Consistently slow, it happens. I'm consistently in the wall or crashed or flipped, something like that. That's my usual state in driving, but Will Metzer will come to the line. He's got a negative 2.4 second delta due to that fighting earlier, so he'll hit the line, try and get his last lap in, and get an improvement here out of 9th place. But keep fighting with each other. That's not going to do well for him, but him and the Aston Martin behind will continue to be a little too close. Juan Martin's just 0.3 behind Will Metzer here.
Yeah, they got enough, I think, in my opinion, enough breathing room. I think Juan Martins is going to get a nice slipstream on it, and if Will Metzer is quicker, then it shouldn't be too much an issue. However, right now, that isn't quite the case. We're on board, though, with Will Metzer as he tackles through the track here. And honestly, I guess you are right, though. I will admit it. Juan Martins should have backed off a bit. He is a little close to my liking, yeah, but shouldn't get too affected unless, Will Metzer a little slow through Sunset, having a misshift right there and just trying to gain some traction into Clubhouse Bend. Very, very slow, nice and steady on exit. And Juan Martins is, in fact, going to be catching a bit. However, he is still improving.
Yeah, Juan Martin's on a 0.1 delta improvement, which every 10th counts, especially for him. He's just, I believe, just 0.2 off the car ahead of him. So the very small fraction margins matter a lot in racing, and you're like, oh, how is someone a second behind and they're that much slower? It ends up being a lot in the grand scheme of things, because your pace is just going to overall, if you complete 60 laps, you finish a full minute slower than the guy who was only a second faster than you. You have to find every single second you can in all these turns. And Kyalami, one of those difficult tracks, because when there's somebody in front of you, it can be not fun with the advantageous lines you have to take, fighting for your life almost normally as you're going the top of your car's limits through turns like the ones that they're in right now. And Cheetah with a friend should not be done, and that's typically what we see a lot of cars end up losing their engines too throughout this section.
Yeah, and all in all, these aren't quite as touchy as the GT3s when it comes to getting stuck in the dirty air. They're a lot more reliant on the mechanical grip, and that's, often one of the differences that I don't think we talk about enough, to be completely honest. And this is the Rookie League, of course, and we do the GT4 cars for a reason. This is, again, they're more mechanically grip-based, which means that you don't need to rely so much on the aerodynamics. And you might say, well, isn't that obvious? And, well, what that really means is that, sometimes a lot of people, slow is fast, is the often saying. With GT4s, that's especially true. In GT3s, that's not always the case. Sometimes through some of the corners, you're not going fast enough to activate the aero, and that's what makes it a little bit more difficult to drive. It's just more tricky, all in all, and it's a lot more of the invisible mumbo-jumbo shenanigans that let's be real, nobody wants to talk about, and nobody really cares. No, that's for the aerodynamicists out there. We're just the commentators. Yeah,
you're driving a suction cup with wheels on it and a V8 engine, inline 6, depending on the car, and other engines. I don't know. But you're actually driving a car in the GT4 Open is where I feel is the massive difference here. Like Matt Melanson, that you have to have so much racecraft to be as fast as Melanson and Rue, and to put down all those laps, it's where they go. And it's very excellent throughout there. As Jaeger Karu will start on the podium.
Certainly will. And how far can they go? Starting us off, though, up at the front, it's going to be Matt Melanson, the number 33 AMG up at the front, and it's a German front row lockout with Mr. Rue topping it up here in alongside Jaeger Karu in another AMG. Juan Martin's behind in the number 4 Aston Martin P4 and the number 12 Aston Martin with Noah Johnson in 5th. Adriano Moro in P6th with Thomas Storms in P7, I think new to the Rookie League. That is a name that I have not seen just yet. Kyle Heslin in 8th position with Dr. Porkchop in 9th, and rounding out our top 10 is going to be Will Metzer.
Yadriel Olivario will start in 11th with Pedro Artoni behind him. The Brazilian will be trailed by Ryan Eason, the American, in that rust-colored number 2 machine. Rally Dutchy will start behind them in 14th, and 15th will be Wade Gregerson. Georgerson, not quite sure. Australian names are something that I can't pronounce, but the 707 will be trailed by Drew Freiberger, with the 17 of Frederick Velez behind them. Speedy Bud in 18th manages to qualify, despite not being in their time, it seems. Seth Lincoln, the 19th car, will be in the other section, with Moriko Yatanashi rounding out your top 20.
And 21st coming home is Jeff Franks, and on the last but not least position here tonight will be Brian Mentzer. We got cheers in chat for Kari. We got cheers in chat for Rue. Let us know who you're supporting. Matt Melanson, he is the lone wolf up here that hasn't been cheered on yet. Come on, can we get some energy for Mr. Matt Melanson as well as Mr. Rue behind, trying to compete for the win, and not just the win in this race, but the championship as well. However, there is still a long ways to go.
Yeah, we've got, well, first off, we've got a very long outlap here at South America. And that's one thing that you will mention is, yes, the race starts in 20 seconds. We've got about 4 or 5 minutes of speculation to go on throughout this other section. And that's one of the weird parts I find about racing is the formation lap in F1. Why would you do that? Why, if you're doing a standing start, why have a formation lap?
What do you mean?
Can't you just heat the tires? Can't you just heat the tires with the blankets?
No. You can't internally heat the temperature of the tires. That's, in fact, you know what, Carson? Great question. Let me answer that in a more scientific manner, because that is a genuine question. One of the advantages of being on an outlap is you can ride on your brakes the entire time. And you might say, well, what does that do for you? Why would you ever ride on your brakes while you're driving? And you can see immediately these cars doing some weaving. Now, weaving is going to help you get temperature into your external temperature, your carcass of your tire. But when you ride on your brakes, that's going to heat up the insides, the core temperatures of your tire, which is what really matters at the end of the day. That's what gives you the grip. And when you go into the first corner and you have your external part of the tires very much up to temperature, your internal's not, you're going to try to brake and you are going to go straight on with absolutely no traction. So it's a very valid question, to be completely honest, Carson. But the tire blankets, while yes, they can heat everything up, they can only do it for so long and only up to a certain temperature by regulation. You can also, they don't heat the brakes, they don't heat the actual internals of the car. So all in all, it's just getting everything working, getting the blood flowing in the car, basically.
Yeah, it's a cold start in the winter. You don't want to, you have to let your car run for a little while to get all the internals warmed up and actually able to drive the car. So it's a bit of an interesting section there, as you also can't put tire blankets on a stock car or a stock car. This is in a GT car with a, blankets over the tires. And the other section is they're made of metal. You can't really put anything on the other section there. But we've got quite the hot race, I think, ahead of us tonight. We've got Mr. Rue in second place. I'm not sure how long that'll last with Matt Melanson, but what I can tell you is, while we are not on an island, we are, I think, those two going to be on an island themselves, maybe all the way out in Madagascar tonight with how fast they've been.
Certainly, maybe. That is a heck of an analogy, I'll be completely honest. They got a long ways to go if they want to make it to Madagascar from South Africa. I know it's fairly close, but still not really. Either way, the car manufacturer is warming up. Your car in the winter is a lie. No, that is certainly... I mean, I guess if you drive a more modern car, that might be true, to be honest. The newer cars, I don't think need to be warmed up. But if you drive an old Camry like me, she needs to be warmed up. You got to treat her nicely before, you... Anyways.
It doesn't even get that cold. Either way. Mr. Rue in the front of the section here. I do want to point out that livery. Consistent so far as Mr. Rue does put a lot of work into the liveries. I do want to point that out. There's a lot of liveries on track out there tonight, and a lot of ones that are very special and have a lot of meaning. And I do want to say that we do appreciate all your livery editors, makers. And if you are curious about any livery questions, there's plenty in the community to help. Don't just stand idly by, because we had a situation where somebody spent hours working on a livery, never uploaded it because they couldn't figure out how, and just raced it with themselves. Even they contacted me about it after 2 seasons of racing here.
Yeah, definitely. Get your liveries uploaded into the Google Drive so we can see all of the hard work that goes into putting on these lovely paint jobs. As we have it, though, the drivers lined up 2x2 Noah's Ark formation here. They're about 11 rows deep and ready to go green here as we come across the final corner now. Matt Melanson up at the front. Mr. Rue lined up in second, challenging for the championship here tonight. I'm Mike Nause in the booth. Joining with me tonight is Carson Kass as we approach the board. And we will go green, green, green now, heading down towards the kink, and it's quickly going to turn down to Crowthorne. Mr. Rue getting away like a cannon, though, trying to go for the outside attempt. Can he make it stick? In fact, he might not even need to. Matt Melanson has to go extremely late on the brakes to cover this off. Mr. Rue immediately down to the racing line, but Matt Melanson, they're going to come back and have to argue for the same piece of real estate. Matt Melanson gets a better launch. Behind him, you see the Aston Martin of Juana Martins and Noah Johnson having a little bit of a scrap themselves. Yeager Karu actually making up a position in this fight. Adriano Moro behind them, but everything seems to be nip and tucked now as we head on down to Sunset.
Yeah, through this other section, that BMW is rapid in a straight line, and not as fast as the GT4 in the turns, but you can see that through the other section. The GT4 cars have a lot more difference in how the cars operate than you would see in the GT3s. There is much more strengths and differences compared and evident in the outline. Mr. Roop chasing down the number 2 he's going to choose, but Dr. Porkchop under massive pressure here, putting massive pressure rather on the car ahead. There's another Aston Martin. We've got 3 Aston Martins all together here, 7, 8, 9, and they'll hopefully work together here. As I'm just kidding. And down the other side, Terran 10 alongside Storms. Never mind, he backs out of the move. Storms not under too much, though, as he heads through 11.
Yeah, Thomas Storms, I think, again, one of the newer names here to the Rookie League. I don't think they've joined any race prior to this, so welcome along, Thomas Storms. The 842 Aston Martin currently running in 7th and running quite strong. Hopefully it can stay that way. Into the Crocodiles, Dr. Porkchop looking to take a bite himself. He doesn't quite make that happen. Idriel Olivadia behind, looking for any scraps as well. And Noah Johnson, he has plummeted like a rock, down 5 positions for the number 42. Still, though, not our biggest loser here as of yet in terms of positions. That's going to be Kyle Heslin, and he is in a fight himself with Will Georgeson. Wait.
Heslin hustling, now trying to get those positions back. The P14 car, he just got unsettled into turn 1 and went a little bit wide and had no way to get back on track and made contact with another car. Stuck back in another section. He'll be regretting that next week when he's got that quali ban, I assume, or a something of the sorts. That's the problem with the rookies, is you make any contact in turn 1, or rather turn 1, lap 1, you will be punished for it, and that's unfortunately how it's going to go for him. As off goes Noah Johnson, they're trying to cook pork chop, and he ends up cooking himself at barbecue.
Ryan Eason in B11 trying to gain on to Pedro Antoni, another new name. You love to see it. So many new names here in the Rookie League. Welcome all of the new drivers out there. And Pedro Antoni, one of the Brazilian drivers joining the field. Quite a few of them out there in terms of the ranks. And up at the front, Juan Martins, he's actually made up a podium position now, up in the 3rd.
Yeah, that neon green machine is a monster so far, but he's going to be under massive threat from Yeager Karu, who has massive pace in that and in races normally, and he's just had another section, lost that car, went a bit wide and lost the position. But if he can keep it clean, he might be due for a podium. But you know, that Madagascar analogy, I'm not too right. Mr. Rune, Matt Melanson still sticking to the field.
What? Okay, Pedro Antoni side by side down the mine shaft, and Thomas Storms gets dispatched relatively fast. And actually, it looks like there might be some form of issue going on here. He's going relatively slow, takes a bit of an offline there, but gets back on track fairly quick. Loses, though, a position to Ryan Eason? No. Thomas Storm still holding on Ryan Eason, gaining position on Noah Johnson. It is shuffling all over the field and now into the final corner. Ryan Eason thinks about a move. Is there a reason? Yes, there is, and he makes it stick.
And that rust-colored Aston Martin just stuck that there and kind of forced Storms to go wide because he wasn't prepared to go on that other line. And it'll be 4 Aston Martins all gunning for the same position. My goodness. Storms trying to catch Easton now, but he's got Thomas Johnson behind him, who himself has a problem on the inside. Storms dives to the inside, and it is a strike of lightning. What an overtake from that 842 car.
Has he made it stick, though? No, he hasn't. He's actually dropped 2 positions as a result. Dr. Porkchop makes his stake in barbecue. He pushes Ryan Eason out wide. Noah Johnson slips through. We're 3 abreast, heading on down towards Sunset right now. Who's going to give?
No clue there, but I know that it might not go well. Dr. Porkchop stuck in the middle with these two cars around him. Ryan Eason manages to keep it clean. The car, Porsche alongside, gunning back through the field. That's Heslin, who is somehow kept it together, but I'm not sure what happened. Storms lost 5 positions on that poor exit. That is tough here, but these rookies are all gunning for the same spot. Too wide, looks like Noah's Ark formation. Heslin and Eason contact. That rust-colored car is going to make it out all right. The Porsche, not so much.
Ooh, wiggling on the rejoin there. Wade Georgeson, Seth Lincoln, Moriko Yatanashi all getting by. Moriko started in pit lane all the way up into 13th. They said they wanted a podium. Is it going to happen? Still have quite a bit of ground to make up, and they need at least 1 position per minute practically if they want to try. Up ahead hasn't changed much. Matt Melanson still in the race lead with Mr. Rue behind. Juan Martins in 3rd, and there was some energy given to Mr. Rue by Nicky as well.
He's got a full 1 second to Matt Melanson ahead, and he'll just keep trying digging that. Dr. Porkchop, though, I'm not sure how he's managed 10th spot. He's had so many swaps with so many different drivers. He tries to go down the inside of Johnson, can't find a good enough exit, and Spady Bud has got to the mix after his quali ban.
Yeah, Spady Bud also just making quali, even though he had a ban in a nick of time. Got home from work, it seems, just at the right moment and made it into the race. Dr. Porkchop here trying to gain, though, onto Noah Johnson. Not going to happen into the second corner, but no, Spady Bud coming from behind. I thought there was going to be a send attempt. Not quite, though, into barbecue once again. Dr. Porkchop trying to follow through, but doesn't quite get it done. Adriano Moro also dropped the position to Will Mentzer, and he is trying to hold on for dear life right now. And this, though, Moriko Yatanashi. Let's take a look at this charge.
Yeah, Moriko trying to catch his, I believe, his teammate, Spady Bud. I think Spady Bud is on the same team as them, but they're just not listed together. It's a bit odd, but Spady has his own livery and enjoys that galaxy-colored Camaro. The best of the Camaros in terms of standings, and so far on the field tonight, he has made that American machine look quick in every single race, and he's come a very long way from where he started in such a short time. Moriko Yatanashi trying to put pressure on him here. They both had quali bans. They've moved up the field together, and Yatanashi has a look on the outside now. Into turn 10, Spady Bud gives him a bit of a squeeze. He moves towards the inside, blocks that inside line. Yatanashi trying to get by, but Spady Bud, ooh, oh no, a bit of a coming together there, and it is not a friendly one. Yatanashi, a bit of a front damage, but he'll be back on the attack here with a run towards Mineshaft.
Yeah, down to it, and actually Spady Bud sees the writing on the walls and just lets that one go. But as he let the fight go with Storm as well to the outside line now, Spady Bud tries to defend, has to run Storms wide. They do, they almost come together. Now into Crocodiles, someone has to give. Nobody does, and they both make it through. How did an Aston Martin and a Camaro go side by side through that corner? I'm not sure anyone will ever know. Through the final corner they go, Spady Bud with a switchback of dreams, and it's going to be a drag race now all the way down to the line. Who is gonna take it? It's the Camaro. You can see the legs and the grunt coming in the second half, side by side, all the way down now to Crowthorne. Spady Bud should have the advantage, and it looks like they do. From the back there, that's gonna be Seth Lincoln joining the party, but Spady Bud is deep, though I still think that is gonna be able to hold on.
Yeah, we'll have to see here through barbecue as he's still got Storms all over him, pestering him like a mosquito, and they come together. They make, oh my gosh, Seth Lincoln splits the middle there, keeps the car alive, but Spady Bud backing up, don't want to deal with too much at barbecue, cooked more than he already was there. It avoids that, but Seth Lincoln very, very close, probably about 2/10 away from having disaster strike him as well, but those two will be left reeling and hoping for a better second race as 11 minutes remain in the first. Rally Dutchie there, the 621 Camaro, now the best Camaro in the field as he overtakes his teammate there. Just chasing.
Yeah, and Seth Lincoln parting the seas, as he said, that was pretty impressive. Oh no, Moriko Yatanashi with a spin, rejoins in a very questionable manner, but there we go. Okay, manages to keep it safe. We got to go back and see what happened. The podium hunt might be over at this stage, and this seems to be an unforced error.
Yeah, Mike, they've still got the second race, so we'll have to see. But yeah, just gets those tires dipped into the wrong section of the track, loses it on the grass, and is a slip and slide at South Africa. Backs up a little there, but manages to keep the rejoin clean. Doesn't lose too much time there, unfortunately, but does lose a bunch of positions.
Yeah, drops all the way down to 17th behind the pack that we were looking at before. Rally Dutchie, Wade Georgian, Seth Lincoln as well, fighting it along here, trying to make their ways up to the top 10. And up in the top 10, I will say, not much happening. The gaps are still quite tight, but it seems that everybody is fairly content on where they're running right now. The only exception might be Jaeger Karu, who seems to have the pace over Juan Martins. 0.2 quicker last lap. Is there blood in the water? I'm not so sure just yet.
Yeah, their best lap is almost identical, only 0.05 separating each other as we hit the halfway mark. 10 minutes remaining. Jaeger Karu still has a great chance for a podium, but he will need to pick up his consistent pace. Goes a bit faster than Juan Martins and goes much slower the next lap, but what a run he's got here right towards that back bumper. Cuts off that gap halfway down from 1 second to 0.5 here. Jaeger Karu trying to find anything he can. The 920 car might have a chance here through 10 and 11.
He might, but I gotta say, at the top of the hill of Leocope, you typically just have to sit in and wait. It's a bit of an aggressive send if you go for it. It's possible, but typically you're gonna have to go pretty elbows out, and hey, all's fair in racing most of the time. You just don't want to get a pit start. Down the hill, though, as they go through the mine shaft and all the way to the crocodiles. Not going to be close enough for Jaeger Karu just yet. Looking to gain up the advantage that they have lost over the previous few laps, and it seems they're doing so. Definitely a bit of a rhythm coming in here for the Black Sheep.
Yeah, one thing that rookies tend to find and learn pretty quickly is that conservative driving is very helpful in the sense of you can be really aggressive and try and get yourself from 4th to 3rd, but you may end up in the graveyard instead of 4th, which I think 4th is a lot better than that. Juan Martins, though, that position might be looking towards the death side there. He's got Jaeger Karu all over his back bumper, and Karu with the advantage had a bit of a better exit. He'll try and get the toe, but not quite sure. It'll be a drag race towards fake turn 1.
But down into the second corner is where Karu makes his strike, and the Black Sheep turns into the Wolf, tries to capitalize on the advantage here, and it looks like it's not going to happen. A lovely attempt, but he tries to continue the move on. Not going to stick, though. Potentially going to have to wait another lap unless there's a mistake, but it's not it's not going to be a mistake enough. And thank you very much, Adam Strange, for the single bit as well. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. I love it.
Yeah, I'm not too much of an aggressive driver myself, except when I miss my braking zone and suddenly I'm lunging down the inside of somebody. But it is just absolutely, it's just absolutely very, very tough with some of these rookies, is because you have unbelievable pace in 1st and 2nd and on the podium, and you're trying to chase a win. But one thing that people should understand when you're jumping in the rookies and dipping your toes into the shark-infested waters of sim racing is you don't win a lot, and it is very, very hard to win unless you put in the really the practice that Melanson and Rue do, and that is some serious time commitment, but you can still get better even without that time commitment, just taking a learn on your mistakes, learning from other drivers, and we have an excellent community at Tracklicious where you can do just that. ! Discord to jump in and check out the GT4 Rookies chat, see how helpful everybody is. It's a very friendly community.
Yeah, it really is, and very warm and welcoming, and just, again, anybody that's looking to improve, I would highly recommend joining, regardless of what your skill level is. If you're a rookie or if you're a seasoned professional, we have all sorts and ranks for you here. And welcome as well, Adam Strange, Stream Espresso, and Logan Sargent Fanboy, all joining simultaneously. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're all having a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. And anybody joining us here at Trackalicious. I'm Mike Nause, the booth. Joining with me tonight is Carson Kass. This is the Monday Rookies Race 1, and we're watching Jaeger Karu try to pounce, but doesn't quite make it happen just yet. Once again, gonna have to bide the time and wait. Juan Martins keeping Jaeger very honest for the time being. And is that gonna allow Will Mentzer into the picture here? Lap times might be saying so. 0.7 different last lap for Will.
It appears the trio is back in chat to support the stream again. Have to say, you guys' support has been really nice, but really funny at the same time. There's a lot of things that I think goes on, a lot more tomfoolery and hijinks when you are around, and we appreciate your presence. We appreciate everybody's presence in supporting the stream. And one thing that you can do to support, if you've got an Amazon Prime account, because I know an ad is probably going to be coming and attacking us sometime soon, is using your Prime subscription to use your Twitch Prime sub and jump in on commercial-free Trackalicious Racing, which is my favorite kind of Trackalicious Racing. I don't know about you, Mike.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we have a full on-board lap for Karu. We'll hop on board for the rest of it of this lap as we have a lot of action going on behind, actually. In fact, I do want to take a look at this side-by-side as we have Rally Dutchie trying to make a move on to Ryan Ease and through Sunset as well. No, that's down the mine shaft. Where the heck are they? They're in Sunset up to Clubhouse Bend. Yeah, what a commanding move. Rally Dutchy, confident as ever. That is not a corner that you see overtakes in often.
Yeah, that'll get him enough of that membership right at that clubhouse up there. That is quite the overtake here through Sunset, and very aggressive, but very safe. He gets a poor exit, though, and Easton in that rust-covered machine, it seems like, will be coming down for that inside position as I am fighting the words tonight. Goodness me. Wrong side of the hemisphere is... Oh, no! Wrong side of the track. Kyle Hesselin into the back end, potentially there, of Drew Freiberger. That multicolored Mercedes just not looking too good. Let's take a look at this replay, Mike.
Yeah, I think there was contact. So there we see both cars getting fairly out of shape. A little bit of monkey see, monkey do. There's a very good line there for the Porsche. Good opportunity for an overtake. And the Mercedes gets out of shape mid-corner, which really causes him to back up into the back bumper. That could easily be chalked down to a racing incident or a penalty, honestly. That one I'm just going to have to leave up to the stewards.
Yeah, I'll leave it up to the stewards. They do their job better than I do my job. Well, in terms of stewarding, I like to think I'm a good commentator. But Rally Dutchy there is going to maintain. He gets overtaken by Easton at some point during that excursion. But looking for the overtake is Jaeger Karu. Bit of a mistake there for him. He might have a better exit, though. And that's where lines differ between these two cars. Not too much of a difference for a lot of these two cars. Super interesting to see these guys' lines and how they compare. Jaeger Karu, though, all over the back bumper of this lime green machine. And I think maybe we'll look towards barbecue, and he might have some, I guess, lime-flavored ribs.
That one didn't quite land, I think, but either way.
Probably because I stuttered. But
Logan Sargent fanboy saying that you like drag racing. Did you watch the NHRA this weekend? It was here in Seattle. Definitely, it was pretty cool. I typically go every year, but unfortunately, you know, commentary and stuff like that didn't allow me to do so. And we had to not make this one, which I was a little bit disappointed in. But either way, always gotta love going to a drag racing event. They're very, very exciting, and you feel motorsports more than you see it.
Yeah, reminds me a lot of just generally, I have no idea a lot about a lot of motorsports, and drag racing is one of those that you cannot even pay me to consider it. Like, the steering wheel is like a workout machine with like the two handles, you know, like where you do the pull down. Like, that is what you're using to steer the dang car. Like, how do you keep that thing straight? Your your brain is literally pushed back in the skull like it's a comedic thing in a cartoon. I have no idea how you do that.
Also, Adam Strange joining us for what is the equivalent of a week. Absolute legend. Thank you so much, Adam Strange, for your continued support. It's people like you that really make it possible here at TRACKILICIOUS, and all of you Logan Sargent fanboy, everybody that is here time after time after time, as well as Papa Milwee. I know you're back in the background lurking, Mr. Phil Milwee's dad, Doc Milwee. So love to see that. And again, it's you guys that really make it possible here at TRACKILICIOUS and make us want to continue doing what we do. There's a yellow flag in the back. Rally Dutchy has returned to pit lane.
Yeah, it seems Dutchy maybe just got unsettled and out there as we get a very quick section there before the transition even happens. And that is a good look at what is a cooked Camaro. Thing is toast. Goodness, that is...
Oh,
that was not a barbecue joke. That one wasn't a barbecue joke. That was just that was just true. And Stream Espresso, I did not catch up on my Descendants lore because I had a bit of a shin incident last night. But that was actually some interesting trivia though about Kyalami. I have to say, you know, Mike, it takes about $5,000 to rent this track out, but only $500 for a track day here at Kyalami in South Africa. Quite the fun track to be on, Mike. Do you know of any track days I could find in the Great Lakes area?
You know, it does just so happen to be that I do know of a wonderful company that puts on track days, and it just so happens to be TRACKILICIOUS, the place that you're at right now, the viewer. And if you are just so happen around the Gingerman Raceway in Michigan, and you're looking to do a track day on August 3rd/4th, the first 40 registrations do get a bonus on the 2-day discount for the early bird special. Highly, highly recommend checking that out if that is something that interests you. You get a chance to meet the TRACKILICIOUS crew, drive the TRACKILICIOUS Miata, and just have a good time with everybody enjoying some motorsports racing. Head on over to trackalicious.com/upnext to find out, and I will post a link to that here in a second.
Well, you might not make toast on the barbecue. I feel like it's possible, first off. I feel like that's one thing that I could do, and that I might try and prove you wrong on and tag you in it in about 3 months of me making toast on a barbecue. But yes, I guess maybe that is true. Jaeger Karu, though, trying to get through and trying to get past Martins. He just can't seem to find enough pace to make an overtake stick or find any way past an overtake. But make sure you check out that track tank. We've got it link right there in chat. Excellent stuff to do and excellent fun stuff to do. Drive that Tracklicious Miata, like we said. I'd be too afraid to drive it, but test your hand.
Why don't more people use sign language for gossip? Honestly, true.
That's
I mean,
it.
you know.
Wow. Yeah. Go on. I had this true agreement. I don't know. Do you have more to say about that?
No, I really don't. It's just a valid point, to be completely honest. Also, Logan Sargent fanboy on a 7-day streak and Stream Espresso on a 5-day streak. Come on, Stream Espresso. You got to step up your game a little bit there. No. Thank you very much for all of your support.
It's better than me. Sometimes I don't have the stream open on my account. I have a 2-day stream watch streak if you're curious about the guy that actually works here. So your continued support
sorry
is...
to interrupt you, but Matt Melanson has just finished the race. My apologies, Matt Melanson. He has crossed the finish line. 20 minutes has elapsed, apparently. I didn't even realize that. Mr. Rue comes across in second, and Juan Martins takes home the podium, holding off Jaeger Karu. Will Menser comes home fifth. Adriano Moro in sixth, with Idriel Olivaria just a 10th. In fact, it's a drag race down to the line practically, and Idriel just gets beat out. Pedro Antoni manages a top 10 for their first race as well. Dr. Porkchop in ninth, and Noah Johnson finishing in the top 10, down 5 positions from where they started, but still not the worst recovery drive.
Yeah, Moriko Yatanashi is one I want to point out in 7th place. We'll have a good chance at that podium spot with the recovery drive. Kyle Eason in 16th right now, trying to get past Spady Bud. No real opportunity here. Hard to beat that Mustang in a straight line. Spady Bud proving that. Bit of a recovery drive up into 15th. He'll hope for better luck in the second round. 20 minutes. Make sure you tune around. We've got 20 minutes more of rookie action. Then after that, 45 minutes of the Open.
We certainly do. And yeah, Moriko Yatanashi actually finishing down in 20th position. The first challenge is going to have to pretty much be a repeat in race 2. Definitely not quite where they wanted to finish, but regardless, it is the result nonetheless. Up at the front, though, again, Matt Melanson dominating here tonight. Fastest lap overall, and the fastest lap in qualifying with the race win. So far, looking like a grand slam, but still has one more race to try to make that become a reality.
Yeah, I want to backtrack on that. That's Yedriel Oliveria who finished in 7th. I apparently can't read for some reason. That driver will finish in 7th, and we'll have another chance at the podium. Moriko Yatanashi, it seems that hope might be extinguished. I apologize for that one. But yeah, it's just a bit of a difficult section, difficult track, and it'll happen. Like we said, there's going to be a lot of unmandated pit stops here at Trackalicious. Yes, at Trackalicious, but specifically here at Kyalami, and we had just that through that section there. Not as much as I was expecting, though. Yeah,
not quite. And so, Adam Strange, are you having a brat summer?
Brat summer.
I've had
brat summer.
I've had some brats the other night. I don't know what a brat summer is, but I had some brats the other night, so that's about all I can go on that one. Apparently that was clip worthy.
I'll be using that one later. That one's gonna be that one might be ending up with many of our other clips. ! Instagram. You want to see some other fun clips from Trackalicious?
Bam. Go give us a follow if you are interested. Yo, brats, though, they slap. Thank you, Veg, for backing me up.
This is a bit of a weird one and a bit of a weird connection, but I went to Frankfurt last November, and I had probably the only bratwurst I've had in my entire life, and it was way better than a hot dog. I have to say, I've never had a hot dog that good. I think bratwursts are the better summer treat. Like a July 4th, yeah. I'm not eating a hot dog anymore, man.
Welcome to the club, Carson. As long as your brats aren't popping on the barbecue, then you're doing well. You know, if you start getting them to explode, you've overcooked your brats, and you have done screwed the pooch on that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know anything about cooking on the grill, to be honest with you. I don't do that. I'm a frying pan guy. Big frying pan guy. I like eggs, like omelets, if you're curious about what I like. If you're ever going to send me food in a box, don't do that. But if you ever were to do that, you could send me an omelet that I would throw out instantly.
Okay, fair enough. We also have, I like the vague. Hot dogs are inferior. Sausages are the move. So sausages, I don't think are comparable to bratwursts, though. That's the problem. Is you're comparing a breakfast food to a sort of lunch slash dinner slash breakfast food. I mean, I guess you could compare like a chorizo as well into that equation, but I mean, you know, is that really? I mean, yeah, I would say so myself at least. But I know some people might disagree. But I do love me a good chorizo sausage. That is quite superb.
Sorry, through the other section, I think through that breakfast foods underrated. Chorizo, an extremely underrated breakfast burrito material. I think
Absolutely.
not enough goes to the other section. But on the back of not as much breakfast and a little more barbecue. At Kyalami, we've got round 2. With that win, Mr. Rue goes down 6 points in the championship, and the gap will now be 7 to first place. And we are not competing as much. There is no technically champion, but there is points counted, and we are in it for the progress of driver skill and driver racecraft. But there is a championship going on behind the scenes, and it should be mentioned.
Yeah, and if you want to take a look at that championship, SimGrid will bring you a link to all of our championships, and you can find the GT4 Rookie Championship, and that's something that you can sign up for yourself if you still are interested. 2 rounds to go, and we have Zandvoort, followed up by Misano. No, not Misano. What is it, Carson?
Valencia.
I forgot. Valencia, thank you. That's right.
Another one of those circuits that's called Valencia and is not even close to the city of Valencia. You can really appreciate that. Actually, I think that one might be closer than Barcelona, where the circuit is just in a different area code, it feels like. Quite interesting, quite awful, I think, by a lot of these communities and countries. Why would you call your track something like that? The Barcelona track could be called, like, the mountain circuit. I don't forget the name of the mountain range that it's in, but I think there's just some uncreative track namers because Barcelona circuit is not the most creative that name could be. Amazing track. Could do a better name.
Road Atlanta's in Brazelton, Georgia.
Yeah, that's again what.
Just saying.
If you were to tell a normal person who does not know anything about racing, the Brazelton Le Mans, like, would you have any idea? Like, if I heard the Brazelton Le Mans and I never heard anything about Road Atlanta, I would probably run away from you because you're not speaking like anything that like makes sense at all. Brazelton, Georgia. I don't even know Brazelton, Georgia. I don't even know where that is in comparison to Atlanta, but Road Atlanta, I know where that is. That's somewhere in Georgia, right?
Yeah, it's northeast of Georgia, I'm pretty sure, just a little bit, but yeah, a little out of the city. It's north of Georgia, north of Atlanta. I know that for a fact. I said Atlanta, Georgia, either way, north of Atlanta. And thankfully, Road America is in America, and that is very, very true. So is Circuit of the Americas. It is also in the Americas. So we do have 2 that are true to their name.
Trying to think of anything else in the States that is like that, but Watkins Glen, you know where that is? It's in Watkins Glen. Yeah, Road America, excellent track. If you are there on the 5th and 6th of August, I'm also going to be there for the IMSA race, so come have a Trackalicious meetup, I guess. I don't know. I'll be there all weekend, so come out. It's only an hour from Chicago if you're curious at how close that is to a real place on the planet. But yeah, Road America, an excellent circuit. Honestly, one of my favorites, and I'm very, very sad that it isn't in this game.
Yeah, there's a couple circuits missing. VIR, Road Atlanta, Road America. There's good other few American circuits that we have not had, unfortunately, just yet in Assetto Corsa Competizione, but maybe one day. Probably not, unfortunately. Just to be realistic.
Yeah. I'm not sure we'll have, I think, anything else, unfortunately, with the addition of Assetto Corsa Evo. I hope, but we just have to hope that Evo has a league function that works and is coherent, or a race function that works and is coherent where you can build a league, but we'll just have to see. I'm excited for Evo, but what's it like living in Chicago, made by the famous Tina Vega's one-woman show? It's not like the show. It's a lot colder. That's kind of the best one to go. Sonoma, yes, that's a good one. Sonoma is in Sonoma, California. I feel like we've started like a kindergarten.
Daytona's in Daytona, to be fair, as well. Sebring, where the heck is Sebring? I'll be honest, I don't know. It's in
Florida.
Okay, well there you go.
Sebring International Circuit is in Sebring, Florida, just 3 hours north of the Daytona International Circuit, Daytona Speedway. I don't know what it's called. I would guess it's Speedway, because why would an American track ever be called a circuit if it's an oval? But, oh man. What do we talk about on the GT4 rookies?
We're almost getting ready to get into it, to be fair. We have qualifying here starting up in a very, very short period of time, so do not worry, folks. I should have ran an ad. I'm going to actually do that.
Mike.
I'm going to...
like 7 minutes.
Honestly, it was a longer segue than normal between rookies. It's normally not this long, so...
I don't know. I'm normally racing in it, so I'm not thinking too much about it. But unfortunately, I've quit racing, except on the controller, and I can't even use the pedals right now. I can't even flex my ankle.
Yeah.
God, dude. Stairs are brutal. Be careful when you are going up the stairs with all your lights off. Believe it or not, it's quite a difficult situation, and it can result in injury.
It certainly can. I'm going to run an ad real fast, though. We're going to run a quick 2-minute ad. If you guys are considering, you're getting annoyed by these ads, and you do have Amazon Prime and haven't used your Prime sub, do consider using your Twitch Prime, but we do have to pay the bills here at TRACKILICIOUS, unfortunately, or Twitch will run ads during the race, and people get upset even more so. So we have to do them now, and we thank you for your patience. We have no choice, unfortunately. But we will still be here. We're not going anywhere. We will still be chatting away. But for the next 2 minutes, any of the non-subs are going to have to be subjected to some advertisements.
Yeah, we'll say toodles to them for some time. But yeah, honestly, I'm very excited for the next 20-minute race. And I'm super curious just how Matt Melanson is going to keep ahead of Rue, because Rue did have, I guess, almost 3/10 of lower pace. And that was the main problem there is for Rue, is he just couldn't get through the entire section there. But should we jump into it, Mike?
Yeah, we definitely should. I mean... We're going to wait a little bit because I kind of ran the ad at probably the worst possible time now that I'm thinking about it, but that's okay. I should have ran it a little bit earlier. Either way, we will have the grid rundown. It's only 22 cars. We don't need to worry about it too much.
We're learning how to do it at normal times. We're not doing it manually, so you don't have to see it during the race. So honestly, you should be thankful that it's not during the race, because we could have run it later. Thank
you, Stream Espresso.
So forgiving, Mike. Yes, I don't.
I don't blame you. You shouldn't. Never hashtag blame Mike. That's always a good excuse.
Yeah. Tweet at Mike Nause on Twitter. Hashtag blame Mike. Would certainly give him more traction. But
I was gonna say, and hit that follow button while you're at it there. So
I'm Mike Nause's 5th follower or 6th follower personally. Saw an increase of doubled your followers last night, 3 to 6, Mike. Those were
I know. Honestly, if I kept that up for every single day, I would be at the biggest follower count in the world by the next month. So head on over to to X and hit that follow. Yeah, Mike's Stan Twitter is starting. Exactly. If you want to see some Williams highlights, they are posted there, and from the Williams esports stream from earlier today. And thank you to everyone that did show up there as well.
You can't find me anywhere else. I'm exclusive here.
That's how special he is.
Carson's next. Absolutely not. You will never find my Twitter. Actually, no, I think my Twitter's normal now. Yeah, my Twitter is normal now. You can actually follow me at Carson Kass on Twitter. There's nothing. I literally haven't. I don't even think I've logged into the account more than once in the past 8 months. So if you would really like to follow me, I won't know.
Fair enough. Let's get on into the action here, Carson, and head down to the race here tonight. And of course, even though I had the windows selected, it's still the black screen of anticipation. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get this quick grid rundown. I don't even think we got time for the sexy sacks as it stands. We'll just go for it as it is. Starting us off at the top, it is Matt Melanson, the number 33 AMG. Heck it, we'll keep this in-game sounds in the background. Why not? Beyond that, behind him, we have Mr. Rue in 2nd position, Juan Martins in 3rd, Jaeger Caru in 4th with Will Mentzer in 5th, Adriano Moro in 6th, Idriel Olivaria 7th with Pedro Antonia in 8th, Dr. Porkchop 9th, and Noah Johnson rounding out our top 10.
Jumping into the top 10 right there is Seth Lincoln passing there. We'll have to jump back there, but Storms will be behind him, hoping to charge forward with Georgeson, the Australian, behind him in 14th. We've got Heslin trying on that good recovery drive from 4th at the start. He'll be traced by Spady, but also trying to get a little bit better there. We've got Eason behind them in 16th. 17th will be Drew Freiberger, with Velez in the 787 flying behind them. Yatanashi will start 19th. 20th will be Brian Mentzer, and that will round out your top 20.
Yeah, 21st, Rally Dutchy, and last but not least in the back row is Jeff Franks in 22nd. Got a bit of work to do. We know that Rally Dutchy has, had a great result in going for them in the middle of the race, but unfortunately dropped it toward the end. Morko Yatanashi wanted the podium and still does. Is it on the cards? Well, Carson, they have a lot of work to do if that's the case.
Yeah, we've also got a lot of cards, though, and that's one thing about the rookies is it seems like things happen randomly a lot of the other sections, and we'll have to hope that for these two top runners, it's been anything but random. They've been the top runners so far. The 205 car will trail the 33 as we head towards the line, Mike.
Certainly do. Getting ready to round the final corner, and Steven Tomazic has yet to be picked up by F1 to commentate alongside Alex Jacques and Julian Palmer. Fair enough. I haven't either. I'll let you know when that does happen, though. Maybe one day, but definitely not as an American, I feel. Either way, the drivers are rearing to go green here tonight. 2x2 Noah's Ark formation as we line up here. Mr. Rue in second. Matt Melanson up at the front. I'm Mike Nause. Joined with me tonight is Carson Kass. This is round 2 of the rookies here for round 5 of overall. We are green, green, green now, getting ready to head down to the kink, and it's a pretty even start as they get ready for the braking zone coming up into Crowthorne. We also can see Juan Martins in the background looming as ever. Gets laid onto the brakes. It's 3 abreast behind, 4 abreast at times, in fact, and everybody making it through cleanly so far. Dr. Porkchop, I think, collected the back bumper of the Aston Martin there of Noah Johnson, but everybody else seems to be fairly clean. Jaeger Caru side by side with Idriel Olivaria, and I think he made that position stick.
Towards sunset, Rue has got an excellent run on Matt Melanson, and with how hard it's been towards the last of that race, he went on to get ahead. He's alongside through sunset, has the unfavorable line, though. The 205 car will hope that Matt Melanson doesn't get a better exit. In a GT4 Mercedes, that will not be much of a hope. It's a fact that he will. Mr. Rue trailed now by Will Menser, who's rocketed up the order, forcing Juan Martins down to 4th. Good start for him. So we've got a bunch of positions still being argued for in the back here, 2 wide, almost as they escape sunset and clubhouse.
Yeah, Dr. Porkchop gaining a position over Jaeger Caru. Jaeger hasn't had the start they were looking for. Dropped 4 positions. Adriano Moro down 3 and Pedro Antoni down 2. Juan Martins also down a position from Will Menser, who's up 2. Up at the front, it is a bit of a shake and bake, but so far, nobody gaining or losing is really the big key here. Not too much contact has been made yet. However, this is where it can result from. Spady Buds side by side down the mine shaft with Antoni to the outside of Crocodiles. The Porsche trying to slip in. That's Kyle Heslin. Had a little bit of an incident on the previous race, but doesn't manage it this time. Manages to keep clean, but behind that isn't the full story. Wade Georgeson sends Moriko Yatanashi, and that's another unlucky bout for Moriko.
Yeah, Moriko almost way less unlucky there as he gets unlucky again. Unfortunately, I just cursed him. Yatanashi caught there by Eason, but definitely could have been a lot worse through there towards Crocodiles. There was a bunch of cars he missed very narrowly. A very good job by him to avoid that, but unfortunately gets caught at Cheetah and bitten by the big cat there. Kyle Heslin trying to get that recovery drive just a little bit farther. He's got so much pace, but has been struggling to overtake in that Porsche. It's got very quick through the turns, but in a straight line, it's going to get beat by every single car on track because there is no KTM out there.
Fair enough. Up ahead there, Pedro Antoni side by side now going for it onto Spady Bud, and he does make it happen, but goes deep on the follow-up. Is that going to give the Porsche the run here to capitalize? The camera angle's not cooperating on any stretch. Still side by side, but no, they end up nip and tuck. The Porsche doesn't get by. Tries to the outside of Clubhouse Bend. That's going to be quite the ask, though, if they can make that one stick. To the inside defense for the Aston Martin. The racing line actually is... Okay, never mind. That Porsche is gone.
Chicago flag, and he... I was going to say, bearing the Chicago flag, and he waves very wide out there. Our teammate in the 997 has just been a little bit better through there, a little bit cleaner, and... yeah, the Aston Martin has been very quick in a straight line. It'll be even harder for Heslin to continue this recovery drive. Went from 4th to 15th and can't seem to get back up the order. That's very tough for the Porsche driver there.
Yeah, it's been a bit of hard work for the Kyle at this stage. He's dropped, well, actually he's gained 2 positions so far, so it is looking up for him at the time, but still a long ways to go for the rest of this session. Thomas Storms dropping down a little bit as well, trying to gain, though, over Seth Lincoln. Can he find any advantage in the final sector? That's where he's going to be looking for it. The Crocodiles there is deep for Seth Lincoln. Whoa, and that's going to be a Camaro rejoining, taking out, well, that's Wade Georgeson taking himself out. What the heck happened there?
And the 707 car goes sideways. We're going to jump into this replay here and see this Camaro. Carbon fiber, as I don't think it's going to be as clean as you see it right here. Goes wide, tries to keep it as it just gets back on track, sees the car, bumps Seth Lincoln, goes secondary wide, and gets a needle thread between those 2 cars. amazing that they stay ahead of each other. I'm going to go jump over quickly to the front of the grid. Matt Melanson got past Mr. Rue. He was on their side as they're alongside out of barbecue. Trying to find a way here towards Sunset. It's Mr. Rue alongside the 205 trying to get this win to get himself back towards championship contention. He'll be on the outside at Sunset towards Clubhouse. He'll have to go nip and tuck behind Matt Melanson, who's going to get a better run than he will. And a switchback through Sunset sets him up on the outside of Clubhouse.
Outside of Clubhouse is never where you want to be, though. You can get ran wide, and Matt Melanson takes full commanding lead, or rather holds on to it for now. It was a valiant effort there from Mr. Rue, but he has to catch Matt Melanson a little bit earlier if he wants to be sleeping like that. Mr. Rue needs to continue on and keep the pressure up for the time being. He actually thinks about a move into Leocop, but you can see it's a very half-hearted attempt. He needs to be careful, though, because that's allowed Will Menser into this party.
To keep that in mind, you have to be almost or a little above halfway alongside the card. You technically be alongside in this league. I know the rules are different in a lot of places, but you do have to be almost halfway alongside as Mr. Rue looks for a shot through mine shaft towards Crocodiles. And this battle has let the podium finisher, Juan Martins and Will Menser, who's ahead of him, back into this fight. And those binoculars that you were to need to see from the back of Mr. Rue's car to the podium finisher earlier, you won't need any more.
No, you certainly won't. In the meantime, I've just seen that Pedro Antoni has had a bit of an off and dropped down into 12th position. He seems to have rejoined safely behind Jäger Karu, who also, I think, got caught in an incident. Definitely need to, well, maybe keep an eye on that. We'll see. The battle will continue, though, up front for the time being. Mr. Rue checks to the inside of Crowthorne. He finds the line. Can he find the position? Seems as it's going to be a good run out. Matt Melanson, though, on the racing line. He'll be able to carry the speed on the exit, and that is what matters. Maximize the minimum speed. Mr. Rue, he gets ahead for just a mere millisecond, but he needs to be ahead for a full lap.
Yeah, on that straight, he's going to have a big advantage over the Mercedes, and he has to try and utilize that to the best of his ability. But the Mercedes is so hard to keep behind you and keep up with through the turns for this BMW, it seems, as Mr. Rue trying to get a little bit closer through Sunset and Clubhouse, but that membership hopefully isn't revoked here as he doesn't crash into that other side. Rue, a bit of a bounce on the curb, though. I'm interested to see where these lines are taking him. Rue is losing a few tenths by just going a bit aggressive over those curves, it seems, for a car that is maybe not as good as the Mercedes at doing so.
Yeah, the BMW seems a little bit loose here tonight in comparison, but that could just be the overly ambitious driving style is what I'm wondering. Is Mr. Rue just pushing that much harder than Matt Melanson? And that could make the difference. You start wearing your tires, you start wearing your confidence as well, and that will cost you in the long term versus the short. Matt Melanson, he seems to have a calm, cool, and collected head on his shoulders, and let's be honest, he knows how to lead a race.
Yeah, Rue, of course, got his first win, I believe, a few weeks ago or last week at Alton Park. And he's like Lando Norris right now, starving for another. The 205 car is just looking for anything he can get, maybe pushing a bit too hard. And Menser behind is really getting close to that back bumper.
It's a bit, I don't know if that's, I wouldn't go that far, to be completely honest. I think Mr. Rue is a bit more calm than young Lando at this stage. So Mr. Rue able to keep more of a calm, collected head on his shoulders, though it might be shining through a little bit here. He needs to dial it, though, as Will Menser. He's another driver that knows how to win a race. He knows how to capitalize, and if I'll be honest, I don't mind the position of Will Menser. He's kind of just biding his time in the shadows and staying unnoticed, and if any one of these drivers make a mistake, he's going to be there to capitalize.
Yeah, you're definitely just praying on Rue and Melanson's downfall ahead of you, which is not a good thing to do off the track, but in terms of position, that's what he wants. He needs them to come together. He wants Rue to get a bit faster so they can collide at some point, and maybe he gets a good situation. Look at Red Bull Ring if you've seen that so far. Kyle Hedden on the note is back into 10th place in the top 10 once again, but he's got 3 cars ahead of him on a little bit of a battle. The Aston Martin ahead. He's chasing Speedy Bud, though, who they're both chasing the Aston Martin.
Yeah, nice 4-way scrap here and a switchback dummy attempt there from the Porsche. Almost lost control of the car. You got to be very careful doing that, especially in a Porsche. The back end will easily overtake the front end, and he is not looking for that kind of overtake right now. He wants to get by Speedy Bud. Gets a little bit loose through the S's as well. You can tell this is a driver who's at 110% right now. Thinks about it in the lead cup. Looks to the inside, looks to the out, but there is no daylight where he is going.
Yeah, Spady does the most American thing ever and parks it right in the middle of the track right there. The number 10 or the number 69 car stuck behind Spady Bud there as he switches back and forth. Can't find a line, it seems, towards Mineshaft. He's being really, really aggressive, trying to find any move he can, trying to get in the head of Spady Bud, and I think it's just slowing him down, Mike.
Not only is it slowing him down, it's just an unnecessary risk, to be completely honest. You're not accomplishing much but scaring Spady every single corner and just risking a collision. As we head into the final corner here, you can see the aggressive posture to the outside, but what is there to gain? There's a switchback attempt, but Spady on the racing line, he just gets a much better launch. The Porsche, though, we know it's punchy out of the corners and it has a bit of a slipstream, though as we approach the full chap of these engines, the Camaro is a absolute rocket ship, and you see the Porsche has to take to the racing line. This might actually give him an advantage in the overtake if Spady goes deep here. We can see the switchback potentially, but no, Spady has it covered and does an excellent job of doing so.
Yeah, Spady nails the line there as he gets to a barbecue. He's still going to have that Porsche all over his back bumper. Heslin is faster, and he just can't find a way past Spady, and either it's the nature of the car or the nature of the way he's driving. He's just pushing way too hard with that Galaxy car ahead that might let Jaeger Karu get by. Just 3/10 and 2/10 to each of these drivers behind and ahead through Sunset. He'll look for a better exit, but it's just not the opportunity. He is losing this Porsche's speed by causing that left and right turns, and those back end tires are A, getting cooked, and B, sliding all over the place.
Yeah, it's 31-degree track temp, so for all things considered here at Kyalami, it's actually not the hottest I've ever seen it, but it certainly is not going to be too easy on the tires. This might be the opportunity that Kyle's been waiting for, though. Spady Bud makes a mistake. Kyle Heslin, though, is forced to the outside, and it's so difficult to get by. The Camaro runs deep, and you can see here Kyle gets onto the loud pedal early, but it's not early enough. Spady Bud just has the momentum and has the corner. And again, the track position so crucial here at Kyalami. Looks to the inside of the crocodiles and then to the out, but again, this is just, in my opinion, wasted energy.
Yeah, the 69 car there. Now really trying, maybe going for a defense now, and yet your car a bit more focused on that as he's losing time to Spady ahead and does want to get by, but you can't let Karu go by. Spady makes a little bit of a mistake, grabs some grass. He'll be forced to go alongside with Heslin into the final turn. Spady takes a better line or a closer line, and he takes the racing line as Heslin unsettled. The back end of that Porsche sliding everywhere. It is a slip and slide in South Africa for Heslin, who's really just pushing the car way too hard.
Yeah, this is it's looking dicey, to put it lightly. I definitely sense a bit of a boiling pot right now that's at a very high temperature, and it's a matter of time, I feel, before it actually just boils over all over the stove and you have a hot mess to clean up. But hopefully it doesn't turn into that, as Spady Bud is doing a stellar job of defense right now, but the just aggressive nature from the Porsche, I will say it has dialed back a little bit, but I think it's just kind of, maybe just waiting. I'm honestly not too sure. Kyle Heslin's, but it's just the very aggressive body language here from the 69 Porsche.
Yeah, it's a bit of a pressure cooker right now, going for anything he can, and just a bit over the edge there, and he might legitimately explode. Kyle Heslin, the 69 car, is just way too aggressive. He's sabotaging his own lines to stay behind Spady, but the problem is he has to, because he's a little bit faster than Spady, and every single line he tries to do on the racing line, he's got to either slow down or take a different line, because he's just a bit faster, goes a bit wide there. He can't find an exit there, but he's got the inside. Nope, Spady's going to park it right in the middle again, and we'll see a repeat of the last two laps. Heslin unable to get by as Karu overtaken behind by Artemi, who had a bit of a mistake at Sunset, but clearly has recovered. The 997 car pushes into the 11, hoping to get the top 10 as the two fight towards Mineshaft. Looks like Spady got a bit of a worse run. Heslin looking towards the inside, trying to find anything he can get through crocodiles. The outside line. They make contact, collider together. Spady is sideways. Heslin gets the worst of it, it seems, as he gets off track, as they're going to be side by side again on the rejoin.
Oh, we'll go back and take a quick look at the replay here. I mean, I can respect the waiting, I suppose, but honestly, just get on it, just go. There is the move to the inside. There wasn't a lick of daylight to be found there, and trying to force an issue that just was not there. Spady Bud, innocent in this conflict. Maybe. Again, leave it up to the stewards, but I definitely think that was a little bit far back.
Yeah, I'm not sure the stewards will need much of just having to see how aggressive he's been on that other section, because there is body language that does show sometimes that you're at fault, and for that, I mean, way too deep, not alongside at all, shot right through Crocodile and got bit.
Yep, and might be getting bit by the stewards is an addition, but that is for the stewards to decide on a later date. At the moment, Jägerkaru on the tail right now. Pedro and Tony trying to make up that position that he has lost, but gained 2 back for free. So I guess all really isn't lost for Jäger. He can walk away smiling to a certain extent. Spady Bud, certainly not the story. Behind that, Morko Yatanashi, 4/10 behind Seth Lincoln. The podium attempt is going to be, I think, far off the cards here tonight for the 53. It was a good effort, but unfortunately, just a little bit of unluckiness in race 1 and 2 has cost them that attempt.
Yeah, I mean, it's racing is a lot of luck, and that's what happens sometimes is unfortunately you get clattered together by somebody who's not got their racecraft all with them that night at South Africa, and that's what happened with Yatanashi, the 53 car. Some mistakes of their own, some mistakes of other drivers. Unlucky here as he chases Seth Lincoln, trying to get whatever he can, the scraps of this race.
Yeah, Seth Lincoln is poised here to not really defend this, it seems, or at least if he is defending it, he just doesn't really care that Morko is behind. He plants it right in the center. He's just here to drive his own race. If Morko goes for it, I don't think Seth is going to fight it too hard, but Seth is not just going to hand this position over for free. He's going to have to put the work into it if Morko wants to get by. Into the final corner they go, try to set up a better exit. Morko takes the long line there, and both drivers exploring track limits a little bit more than they should, but you can see the launch here from the Camaro, the Aston Martin, and this might be done and dusted for Seth Lincoln. We approach the braking zone from a bit of a ways back. Morko Yatanashi, though, has the brakes in time, and Seth Lincoln, again, he's just not going to fight this that much. He knows the pace difference, and Seth, he just wants to make it to the checkered flag in what position he can, not risking any contact. Respect from both drivers.
Yeah, and that's a skill in itself. You mentioned it a lot. Driving your own race. We see a lot of drivers have that problem and don't have the pace as the driver behind and defend way too hard, trying to get anything they can. But this argument is back on the table. Kyle Heslin, the 69 car, behind Spady Bud again, this time in 11th and 12th instead of 10th and 11th. They will continue this argument for the rest of this race. It seems 3 minutes, 50 seconds left. Towards the front, if you're curious how that battle's gone, it's about a 4-second difference between Matt Melanson and Mr. Rue. So a bit of a telescope needed for some of these drivers, unfortunately, but Mr. Rue will not challenge as well for the championship as maybe he was hoping last night, but looking for that second win, he won't find it. Kyle Heslin trying to get through that inside line, and the same thing happens. That has 3 laps already. Spady parks it in the middle, gets a good enough exit, and that Porsche punchy out of the corners. Can't do it if he takes that line on the Camaro.
No, and he's going to have to really put it into the aggressive gear right now if he wants to make it happen. He's done it in the past, and hopefully he doesn't quite repeat it, and this time it isn't going to happen. Through Crocodiles, they go safely this time, though into Cheetah, is that going to be the same story? Exits the corner very nicely, but continues the fight on. And by the way, to answer the question earlier from Logan Sargent Fanboy, I think Carson has a much better chance of surviving a zombie apocalypse. But as I say that, Dr. Porkchop, he has found himself consumed in the wall here. What has happened to Dr. Porkchop? Let's find out. It seems like a side-by-side battle here into the final corner. And, yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. Another very difficult one to judge.
Yeah, struck by storm. Not sure whose fault it was. I would say maybe a bit of a racing incident, maybe not. That crane got a good look at it, and maybe better one than we did. Dr. Porkchop, they're still trying to fight for position with Franks, who we haven't spoken about too much behind the Love Wins Racing Mercedes. Has been relatively out of the spotlight, and for a good reason, I think, for Franks. Hasn't been in too many accidents tonight, and I'm very happy for them. They've been very good at staying out of accidents, and I'm very, very proud of how far they've come in terms of race safety.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's been a very quiet race for Jeff, but he has gained 6 positions, and I don't think you can complain about that. You can P16 result, not terrible by any stretch of the imagination. It's just about getting to the checkered flag now, and there might even be another position on the line here. Drew Freiberger up ahead potentially could be weak to Jeff. These two have, well, a long time to battle right now, or rather, I should say, not that long of a time. We're only down to 1 minute and 42. Side by side, though, the Porsche finds an opportunity, and I think he has finally found the overtake. Spady Bud, I would be very surprised if he can hold on onto this. Continuing, though, down the hill towards Mineshaft. Big squeeze from Spady, and it's going to be immediately responded to. The Porsche says, no thank you, sir. I'm going to squeeze you back, and that is finally position done. Kyle Heslin, long attempted, and, well, through a couple gripes, finally gets the job done, and I think he will get a decent way up the road and will drop Spady like a hot potato. Well,
and as you say that, Spady also goes a bit wide, but he's going to have a worse exit than Heslin, unfortunately. Actually, you're still right. But, I mean, Heslin's car is so unsettled. Every time you see them go through crocodiles, you can see that back end almost slide out. They're driving a drift car, it feels, at some points, a 69 car. Massively under threat from the Camaro because it is very fast in a straight line as they almost make contact. Spady Bud inches from that quarter panel, but everybody gets through and makes it safe to the barbecue.
Yeah, I certainly do. My timing charts here is glitching out. I wonder if there's a disconnect or something, but I'm not sure. I think that was just ACC TV being ACC TV. Either way, Pedro and Tony behind, battling with Adriano Moro. It is a battle of the Brazilians for P7 right now. And actually, I know Adriano Lavadia up ahead with the American flag representation. But Adriano Moro, can they hold on? Jaeger Karu also in the fight. It will be a bit of an ask. We're on the final lap here, and we will not miss the checkered flag this time as Matt Melanson is coming into the final sector.
Melanson has been excellent. Oh.
Drew Freiberger and Jeff Franks, I think, have had a coming together. We don't have time, though, to look at that replay. It is all about Matt Melanson.
Melanson has been excellent as he jumps through Cheetah into the final turn at turn 16 here. He will extend his championship lead by just a bit more over Mr. Rue, but Matt Melanson has been excellent in anything but bad, to be honest with you, is what he routinely says, is that he's going to be bad, then wins the race. On the other end, the 33 car needs some more confidence, but didn't need it tonight. 4-second gap to the car in second place. Mr. Rue second, trailing first.
Will Menser takes home third with Juan Martins behind in fourth. Noah Johnson, 6.5 seconds off the ball in fifth. Adriel Lavadia takes home sixth with Adriano Moro behind in seventh. Topping the time charts for the Brazilians ahead of the fellow countrymen Pedro and Artoni. Oh, I've been saying this wrong the whole time. It's Artoni. My apologies.
And then will be Jaeger Carr, who had a tough night tonight. Unfortunately, one mistake cost them 5 positions towards the end. Heslin will trail behind. Recovery drive may not be without a few penalties towards the end. We'll have to see where they end up, and if they end up in the pits again next week, or rather if they end up in the pits next week, Moriko Yatanashi will make it all the way up to 11, so a pretty good recovery drive. Just did not end the way they wanted it to with a podium, but still, I would say, quite the amazing recovery.
Yeah, it certainly was, and a nice photo finish at the end there with Rexy and the Aston all the way to the checkered flag. That's not it, though, for the night, folks. Do not go anywhere. We still have the GT4 Open Championship up next, and that is going to be open to absolutely everybody. We have some very competitive names participating in that, and it's going to be 45 minutes, 1 mandatory pit stop, and a load of action, I can assure you that.
Yeah, and this one... points are on the table. This is actually a championship that counts towards your total Trackalicious championships. And we've got one driver who really, truthfully, might end up at the end of this summer season with 9 championships, contending in the lowest contending spot, unfortunately, for Ali Raza, because he switched cars. That car in 7th place, but we've got so many championship members competing for this section, and it's only a few points. Mark Kame, the top car right now, the 158 machine, or 158 points, but unfortunately had to drop out of the championship. Mason Pierchowski, Professor Kronotis, and Justin Beachley, all within 6 points of each other, trailing behind first, second, and third. As it's going to be basically whoever finishes ahead will take control of this championship headed to round 6. But round 5 at Kyalami, stick in and stay tuned. We've got 45 minutes.
Yeah, certainly. To finish first, you have to finish, and most of these drivers are going to be thinking that tonight. It's not about the best result. It's just about bringing home the crucial points for the championship. Also, I wanted to actually answer that question a bit more because I thought that was a pretty interesting question on the Zombie Apocalypse one, and why Carson would be better is because the man is an actual, like, goat when it comes to, not like a greatest of all time, a literal goat of the mountains, and I feel like if anyone could survive in the wilderness, if you were just to throw the dude out there, this guy would have no issues whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm very big into hiking. I play rugby. If you're curious about Carson Kass lore, I've been described as somebody who I do everything that nobody expects. So I don't know what that means fully in the other sense, but beats me. I would think Mike has a good chance though. Mike's not some pushover. I'm gonna say that Mike would have a really good chance. I think Mike would do better in an urban environment than me. I'm
Maybe.
not a fan of the city. I don't know how to navigate the urban environments. I think as well as you do.
That could be fair. I think I would survive. I would stand a decent chance, but I don't think I would. Like you got the long-term advantage. That's the problem. Is I got the short-term boom, but then I'm just gonna get killed off because like I was, I could already see it coming. But either way, Veg. I'm a fan of the Tracklicious GT4. If I wanted to see some collection of upcoming races in one place, could I do that? I'm not sure what you mean by that necessarily. Could you elaborate a little bit more?
If you're talking about VODs, one place you can check out that gets posted pretty frequently once they're up, the YouTube is where you can find all the previous VODs, or the Twitch if you're within 2 weeks of the last stream. But I have no idea. We don't really do like collections of the series, if that's what you're asking, like a highlight reel. That's not something we do too often. But yeah, the YouTube is the place where you can watch the VODs of the previous streams, catch all of the action there. We've got years of footage going back. You can see my very first stream in February, and I think even Mike's very first stream 2 years ago.
Not quite. I don't think my first stream's on YouTube, but one of my first streams is on YouTube, and you can find that. It isn't great. I wouldn't recommend checking it out, to be completely honest. Either way, you can head over to the YouTube at TRACKILICIOUS. I have been trying my best to do that. And talking about the schedule. Okay, well, that's a great question. We can talk about the schedule. Before that, though, I do want to run ads. Thank you very much to Hold on. Doidera Brazil. Oh, there we go. We can see the name in chat now as it's popped up. Oh, you're Pedro Antoni. Apologies on the mispronunciation as I entirely butchered it for 40 minutes until I realized that it was an R and not an N. But welcome, Pedro. Obrigado for joining the league, and I hope you had a great time in the race. Time to get an open podium. You know, Moriko, that's the spirit, though, to be completely honest. Like, immediately, a lot of people would get demoralized from the result. They would be like, I didn't get what I wanted at the end of the day. But no, that's the mentality. Get back up on the saddle and go and tackle a podium. And what is on our screen right now? How the heck did that just happen?
Thank you, Adam Strange, for the 40 bits, donating for the on-screen celebration perk of Twitch, which is hilarious. I love that feature. I think that's a good feature that you just cannot avoid. I'm so happy that's around, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Oh, we got more.
We have golden kappas floating now all about. Isn't that a special emote? And Doira Brazil, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Much appreciated. Obrigado once again. That is all of my all of my Portuguese tapped out in one word practically, minus the zebras that you can see in the background there. That is now officially all of my Portuguese tapped out.
Better than me, Mike. I have a unfortunate complete 0 on that. I love the Brazilian drivers, and I love that they're in the Tracklicious community, but I've really dropped the ball on that one, and maybe I strike up Duolingo soon. But oh man.
Speaking not of that, but I should probably check to see how close we are, as I would imagine we should be getting ready here for the open qualifying. Has probably already begun, to be completely honest. I've been lollygagging around, and to be completely honest, I am going to send another ad roll. That way we don't get one at the beginning of the race, so I apologize to any of the non-subscribers. You just have to bear with me. It'll be a 2-minute ad in the time being, but we appreciate you sticking around, because the ads are what, well, pays the bills at the end of the day, and we have to have them on at Twitch. We don't got much of a choice, unfortunately, because, yeah, I mean, that's just how it goes. I wish there weren't ads, but there are.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it does provide a way for Twitch to get revenue, and Twitch to get revenue, and it's unfortunately we just run them as you can. If you're looking for ad-free racing, we'll talk a little bit about that when the ads run, because everybody, if you are watching ad-free racing right now, you have subbed.
Or you have Twitch Turbo, one of the two.
True.
That is also an option.
Is it like YouTube Red with like if you get somebody watching with Twitch Turbo, you get some benefits from subs? I'm not quite sure what that is. Yeah,
it's yeah, you get more revenue.
YouTube Red then.
Yeah, pretty much. It works in a very similar manner. It's actually very good. So if you do have Twitch Turbo, we thank you as well, because you technically are supporting us as well in a very roundabout way. But regardless, it is much, much appreciated. And we also appreciate all of the bitteroos that are getting sent this way. Okay, I was watching an esports event this weekend, and the crowd cheered more aggressively every time they cut to a Chipotle ad. By the end of the event, it was like a Super Bowl every ad. I wish we could put that on here at TRACKILICIOUS. I wish I could be that entertaining when it comes to ad reads.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't do a lot of ad reads, I've noticed, on the TRACKILICIOUS stream specifically, but if you're looking for ad reads, this Saturday, we've got a sponsored event by the Community World Challenge held by SRO. The Community World Challenge held by SRO is this Saturday, Mount Panorama, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll be with you for 6 hours, me and Mike. You won't get rid of us for too long, or for a long time, unfortunately, if you there, as Mike drinks the comically large water bottle there.
It's an average.
Thank you very much for the hydrate.
It's average-sized, chat. It is an average-sized water bottle. That's a small water bottle is what that is. Welcome back, everybody, from the ads. Another bit, and you love the... I don't think those are copy-pasted either. Are these typed out? But I don't know. The punctuation makes me think that it is copy-pasted. See, thank you, Veg.
A lot of... These breaks on the Mondays just always go so off the rails. Just... How many gifted subs? Quite a bit.
Five gifted subs.
Drew and 3SS, 5 gifted subs. Thank you so much. That is massive to support this community, and everybody there, very happy. You get they get free ad-free racing. So good for them.
Yeah, thank you so much, Drew 3S. I think that's Drew Freiberger, if I'm not mistaken. Do let me know if that is you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. As we have it, though, we're still not actually in the free practice. You're right, Carson. I could have done Stream Racer on this one, and I probably should have. Drewness. Thank you.
Changes every week.
And Carson has gifted a singular sub. Carson, what are you doing gifting subs? You've 10 in total. Thank you so much for your continued support, first off. But also, I mean, thank you. Fair enough.
I do one a month. I figured I forgot to do one in July. I do normally the first of every month, so I haven't done it in quite a while, but I guess we'll keep the hype train going. Hype train level 3. I don't know how hype trains work on Twitch, but if you would like to sub, it would continue the hype train. I don't know what that is or why that exists, but I think it's a meaningless just bar of success of how many people have donated in the last 5 minutes. But I don't know. Support helps. Thank you very much for everybody for the subs and every other section. But hype train.
Carson, it's the hype train. The hype train. Choo choo. Everybody hop on the hype train.
The same Jag. It's the same situation as the Jag, where it's just I don't say it well enough, unfortunately. The Jag, right?
I even shared mine. Look at that. I've added myself to the Mike Nause is on the podium. Thank you so much, myself, for the continued support. 27 months. That's almost a year. My goodness.
This close to a year, Mike. We're almost there, and it seems that everybody's almost close to a year, but we've yet to get there. As we get one more sub, one bigly. Thank you for the sub again. We've got one more cheer as well from Adam Strange. I think these are just music lyrics, and I do recognize the song. But thank you very much for the sub, bigly, as we've got quite the support train going while there's no racing going on, which is I appreciate. It makes it, I think, a lot more entertaining with you screaming "Let's go" every single time.
Holy smokes, indeed! Oh my goodness, we are. Also, welcome Stephen Buckley, as I keep shouting in my own ear as well. Holy smokes, Mike, read my message, husband. No, Adam, I'm not gonna, I don't know what song it is for one, and I'm too dyslexic to read all of that in a timely manner. Thank you so much, Moriko. Thank you so much, Spady Bud, for your gifted subs. Absolute legends. We are on the hype train level 4. Choo choo!
Conductor's here. Choo choo! Let's go, baby. Keep it going. We are on another level out here tonight. I think this is the highest we've had in a while, or maybe the highest we've had ever. Not a lot of hype trains here at TRACKILICIOUS, but we've got it going right here before we get into the action of the GT4 Open. As man, I don't know how these vary every single week. How is the break so different every week, Mike?
You know, honestly, I'm not completely sure either, but it's, you know, we're just here to commentate, so I just don't question it, to be completely honest. It just is what it is, and I don't have any control over it, and that is completely fine as far as I'm concerned. I don't want that control. Big shout out to all of the admins behind the scene, Professor Kronotis, Eric Akassian, and all of the other admins, for Justin Beachley for being the league manager, and who is the other league manager as well?
Franks is the manager for rookies, who does an excellent job. I have to say, has been very, very good with stewarding, as we also have a very, very important stewarding team that is up a lot too late with the rookies, unfortunately. We had Monza last year, which is the highest contact we've ever had, as 100 bits, and now you've got to read it, or I can read it for you if you'd like.
I got it. He's asked me. He asked me in specific. I'll do it. I'm not your everyday villain, quote unquote, or parentheses, gra. I'm taking your soul, living for a living, got a torturous mind full of evil designs. I could grind up your bones in a minute. Wow, this is getting rather grim. Down the darkest depths of the sea, the scariest things are scared of me, say Ulinia, and I'll watch them flee. She's Ursula's baby sister. Okay.
Missed the accent, but I don't think you know that song at all, so I'm not gonna
I don't
hark you on that one. But 100 bits, thank you very much, Adam Strange. And I guess that's the way, if you want Mike to read something that's not during a race, is pay for it.
I could have done the gra better. Yeah, I should have put a little more effort on that one, because I know I can do the gra. We got that.
I just don't think you knew it was coming. It's been quite just the. I don't know. I just kind of feel like in the past month we've had so much more, like, I don't know how to describe it, as whimsy, tomfoolery, and hijinks in chat.
Podcast energy.
No, not even podcast energy. Like regular stream energy. Like we are on a stream, like playing a game or something. It's like a couch co-op stream. We should do that. TRACKILICIOUS gaming channel. Would you guys watch me and Mike play a horror game?
I wouldn't. I don't know.
You do that?
Have to have an NSFW tag on that one. We'd have to have quite the hefty donation for that one. No, not really. Don't donate. I'm not. Don't actually do that. But either way, I think qualifying has finally gotten underway. Why don't we head down to the action, Carson?
So excited for the GT4 Open. We've got quite the tight championship that I mentioned earlier, as we get the black screen of anticipation, and quite the anticipation for this. Scott Sullivan on provisional pole, because nobody's set a time yet. We're out on the outlaps, and everybody's going to be doing a bit of a queue at the end here, like we're at the grocery store during a pandemic. I'm not sure why I thought of that analogy specifically, but Scott Sullivan will be in first. Not the first car out there, but right now we've got the white plates out there. Those are the higher-level drivers. I don't know why this week they're starting at the top, but they are this week. I think it changes every week. We've got a nighttime race here at Kyalami, or nighttime qualifying here at Kyalami, and should be great.
Yeah, definitely will be. Looking forward to the action ahead of us here. The drivers on their outlap, and there we go. We can mute it. No Ali this week. No, I don't think so. Or is there? Yes, no, there's no Ali this week. That's right. I think he announced that. Wasn't here in the last GT3 race either, I think. Or no, was that...
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, okay, it was Kronotis that took the win last week. That's what it was in this series, right? No, when did Kronotis win? What am I thinking?
I don't know. That was Tornado week last week. I unfortunately did not get to watch it.
That's right.
I think it was a pit strategy. That's kind of all I remember. Somebody won because of a pit strategy, and they came out really late. I don't know. But Ali, I think, will officially, mathematically be eliminated from the championship if he doesn't show up this week, which... unfortunate for him, but Mason Pierchowski, Professor Kronotis, Justin Beachley, and Casey Shude, all the main gunners for this section, and it is my turn, isn't it?
Yep, it is your turn.
It's a long one.
Yeah, you're gonna have to pull open chat yourself. By the way, thank you guys so much. 11 subs and 183 bits this stream. Absolute legends. I think the hype train has come to a conclusion, but that was absolutely incredible. Choo choo! Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, the conductor is here and he is in business. Well, why don't you make her walk the plank? Darling, that's too easy. Prick her with 1,000 thorns. And what? She'd fall asleep. We could burn her to a crisp. Yeah, let's burn her to a crisp. Awfully grim again. No, it should be worse. Worse. Awfully grim again. Then all these revenge should be vicious in whatever we do to that poor unfortunate soul. Should be 10 times more cruel. They won't know what's coming when I hit him with that revenge. They gonna start running when I hit him. I have a feeling with how that cut off, we will be getting more. So let's get it in before the race starts.
I was actually about to say, I think we're gonna call it on the readouts for the copy for the music lyrics for the time being. If they're a little bit shorter, maybe, but at that length, I'm too dyslexic to read that. I'm not even joking either.
You can do questions if you want to jump back to the very odd or very out of place questions. Those ones we can do. Those ones we can do a lot more. As we've got some Potts Weaver support from Dr. Porkchop. Did a pretty good job. I would say he cooked on Kyalami earlier tonight, and we hit sunset. It is past sunset so far this qualifying, 7:05 p.m. The times are so weird in this game, Mike, because I don't understand when the sun sets, and it's different based on every single race, I think, and every single track, but it's not the same. It varies, and it depends on what season you're in. I don't know what goes on this game, but sunset has already happened. It happens at 7:30 sometimes at Kyalami. I don't know why it's not.
I think it is... No, I actually don't know. I'll be completely honest. I'm not sure either. I know that sometimes you can set it to the actual in real life time, but I don't think that's what we've done in these races, so I don't think that's actually what happens.
Sorry for that noise. I think my cup holder just fell through my desk. Another broken thing in my desk. The setup is falling apart at the seams, but a man who is not falling apart at the seams, Scott Sullivan, 6th overall, just behind JP Reed. We're off to a good start for the qualifying. Dan Brace going to be on top with Justin Beachley. Going to put a good little section in for his championship. Hopes with Mason Pierchowski right behind there, but a little bit of a Jace Wright sandwich there as well.
Certainly is. For the time being, a 149.8 is the time to beat. Dan Brace going to be up at the top for now. Mason Pierchowski looking behind in the garage, 56. The Eagle Screech. Potts Weaver behind him. Now getting overtaken by Jace Wright. Nicely done. 1/10 off of the time.
Yeah, Jace Wright is, he's been off and on in this series. It's just been sometimes here, sometimes not, as I believe this is his season debut, if I'm not mistaken. Has Jace Wright been with us all season? I don't
I think
believe so.
Maybe
No,
you might be right. Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, Jace Wright yet to compete so far. 24th in the championship, 0 points to their name, but very quick driver. If you've been around the Fuchsia competition, esports driver has been everywhere. You can see him on Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern as well, competing for them in that navy blue Lamborghini. For the 24 car, we'll sit in second, as that'll be a good podium for now. Start. As we have the same qualifying format, by the way, if you are curious, but instead of numbers, it's white plates and red plates being those that qualify for rookies.
Indeed, and if we do... Hold on, I need to double check that it worked first. Potentially. It did work. We now have, due to Veg on the suggestion, at least it was that Veg, I needed... Oh my goodness, I'm clicking on all of the wrong things right now because I'm trying to do multiple things at once. But yes, Veg making the comment of, do we have any fun facts? We now have the ability to redeem fun facts, chat. You can now redeem them with channel points. I have added that feature.
That is very excellent. But one fun fact that you can't redeem, but you can redeem a ticket for $5,000 to rent the entire track at Kyalami, $500 to do a track day here. And Mike, do you know of any track days near the Great Lakes region, specifically in Michigan, that I might be able to find?
You know, there's a little bit of deja vu on this one, but I do in fact know of a very good platform to go for track days on, and that's TRACKILICIOUS, folks, in case you were curious. If you head on over to TRACKILICIOUS.com/what's next, I'll be posting a link here in a second, unless I still have it copy pasted. I do post there in chat. You can head on over there if you are looking at the track days over near Waterford Hills. Actually, we just had our Waterford Hills ones. That was on the 20th. Up next is the Gingerman Raceways on August 3rd/4th, and the first 40 registers get an early bird discount for both days. Again, head on over to that website if you are interested in a track day here at TRACKILICIOUS. Now, the fun fact. Oh my goodness. Okay, I need to put a limit on that.
Oh
we
my
need
gosh.
to up the price. Alrighty, inflation has set in, folks. It is already going to be more expensive. I don't have enough fun facts for all of the ones that have been redeemed already.
Well, we don't have. Well, we've got 6, but we don't, I guess, necessarily have to just like. We could just say something else. I don't know. We could just do a fun fact about someone else entirely. We don't specify what fun fact it is.
Yeah, I mean, we have done that in the past. Some Beyonce fun facts, some Lady Gaga fun facts, but you know, we only have so many fun facts.
If you want a commentator one, I couldn't smell till I was 16 years old. I'm
There you
not
go.
elaborating at all.
Fair enough. I won't ask. But I do need to make that more expensive. Clearly, that was not enough points. That was
maybe like. I mean, the unfortunate part is we've got so many people supporting that I don't really know how we set it to where anybody can redeem it, but a lot of people have a lot of channel points. You can put it at 3,000, and I'm pretty sure we would have quite a lot of people redeem more than one, but they can't redeem more than one too often, so maybe that'll. Troyola 46, thank you very much for the follow. Your support is very welcome here in the Tracklicious community. We've got tons of supporters throughout here, so thank you to everybody. And that other section is Mike. As the first half of qualifying comes to an end, one person that we haven't thanked tonight are our Patreons, and they help keep this machine running. On the other section of behind the scenes, Professor Kronos, one man that helps a lot with it. Patreons are absolutely amazing. If you want to go support, you can go jump into the Patreon. It's not mandatory, of course. You can just keep watching, which is the enough for all of us here at Trackalicious. And yeah, it keeps the leagues running, keeps everything going. The machine churning, if you will, as Dan Brace. He will end on pole so far here tonight. As I believe, no, he's still got a lap to go. He's still on a valid lap. Everybody's still coming around. I forgot it doesn't end at 10 minutes. We've got the last lap starting at 10 minutes. Dan Brace in first, Jace Wright in second, and Beachley in third as it stands.
Yeah, just looking at the improvements on all these laps, I'm pretty sure it is going to stand that way all the way to the end. Jace Wright is improving, though I'm not sure it's going to be enough, mainly due to the fact that Dan Brace is also improving. However, Jace Wright has found a bit of a hurry up in the middle sector, but Dan Brace here, what does he have in the final corner? Currently about dead even with his Delta. Rounds the final corner, leaves a bit on the table, but still manages to gain a 10th on exit. Will come to the line and improve. That's going to be another 10th to beat there for Jace Wright. And this is the actual worst case scenario that could have happened to Jace in qualifying.
Yeah, one cool fun fact about Kyalami is it's got some cool corner names like Crocodile and Mineshaft.
I got a good
fun anything fact. I can.
So I have a pretty good fun fact. So this is a track that is one of the highest altitudes actually in the GT calendar. We are sitting up about a mile above sea level. That's about 1,500 meters, 4,921 feet to be exact. The same height as Mount Greylock, in case you were curious. Making it one of the highest altitude circuits on the GT calendar, and adds an extra layer of challenge due to the fact that the engines don't quite work as well as they normally would. They don't quite have as much air in per air. It's not as dense due to the fact that we're at a much higher elevation, and Assetto Corsa Competizione actually does simulate that.
Yeah, and if you're familiar with sports, it's kind of like when you go play a game in Denver for football. A lot of those guys, they have the air tanks because they don't have enough air when they're trying to catch their breath again. They have to use air tanks to get their breath. You're conditioned in an entirely different atmosphere. And if you're curious about atmosphere, if you hit a baseball in this altitude compared to sea level, it'll go almost 80 feet farther. Or if you hit it at the right angle, it can be up to that. And it's very, very interesting how physics work at higher altitudes. A mile-high point, much like Denver, if you're curious just about that elevation.
Certainly is. And what is going on in chat right now? We have started a revolution, it seems, already. Stream Espresso leading the charge on that front. Also welcome Roofless into chat. And one Bigly redeeming a hydrate. I did miss that? Maybe? I don't know. I'll hydrate again. I could use some hydration.
Mike, well, I do make fun of you for your water bottle. I am actually out of water.
Brutal.
So I guess I'm the loser on this one, folks, if we're going through here. So I have enough for one race, and I forgot we have 2 races tonight. But I guess I'll just stick through it dehydrated as a lot. A lot of water is not in my system. Joe Follis, currently the reigning winner. Never mind, he won at the race before. Did he win at Alton Park? Who won at Alton Park?
Why don't we take a quick look on the SimGrid and see the winner of Alton Park last time around was Professor Chronotis, of course. That's right. Took his first win off of, I don't want to call it a little bit of luck, but off of the back of Justin Beachley's mistake. He had it pretty much sealed completely at one point, but a bit of a mistake. It was through Druids, if I'm not mistaken, on the back part of the track that ended up costing him the victory at the end of the day. And all the way through, yeah, okay, got you. Joe Fias now to the line, up into P18 overall. It'll be P3 in class for the red plate drivers for the time being. Moriko Yatanashi up at the front, wants to take the race win, or rather a podium here tonight, and it looks like that is certainly on the cards. 22 drivers out on the field tonight, and all of the drivers have just about set a time. Jeff Franks and Spady Budd both still yet to do so. And beyond that, it is up at the front still Dan Brace. I'd imagine he isn't going to lose that pole position. And, aren't druids wizards or something? I don't think a druid is a wizard. I'm pretty sure they are two distinct differences. A druid, I think, is more of like the earth wizard, maybe, if you want to call it that, which, yes, I know I just said that. It's very redundant. But I think a druid is... maybe a druid is a wizard, but a wizard isn't a druid. I think that might be a better description of it. It's like ovals and circles. And you're muted, Carson. Okay, you're not me. Okay. Carson working on some audio issues here, and he is frantically shuffling around. I'm not sure. I see him losing his mind right now, but I can't hear him losing his mind, unfortunately. Carson, I can't hear you. I see you talking. I see your lips moving, but I'm not listening. Did you read your DC fact? I did read it. I didn't read it out loud, though. Wonder Woman has a twin sister named Nubia, who, due to retcons, is not her sister anymore. More fun facts for me to use. Okay, fair enough. Appreciate it. It seems that Carson is still losing his mind right now and maybe want to reconnect to Discord or something along those lines. I'm not sure if that would fix anything, though I doubt it.
Hello?
And there he is. Whatever you just did worked.
Cool. I just had to go in and test my microphone on Discord. That checks out. Just random things you got to do just for no reason. It's like a puzzle. But yes, Mike, a druid is a wizard and is a magic user, but is not a wizard technically. But it's all a different story. It's all connected to nature in a bit of a different way, but they are wizards. But a wizard is not a druid.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That is from the druid expert himself, Mr. Carson Kass. He is a former druid, in fact. He was for a very long time, a couple hundred years, to be completely honest. He has now resided, though, in the body of a rugby player.
Yeah, I'm 47,000 years old. I be in my tower with my orb. I don't know. Couldn't think of anything to say as Joe Follis jumps through mineshaft. He's fifth, as you can see, driving the KTM. The only one out there tonight in this class is you got another one with JP Reed up there. And those two I want to mention are wizards themselves with this car. It is an absolute it's a lot of the time driving this car can feel like smashing your head against a wall, and they do a great job of smashing their head against the steering wheel properly to get this car absolutely everywhere it needs to be. It is very, very difficult to get this car straight and keep it steady, but they've done it. Follis has already won a race. JP Reed competes all the time, and yeah, I'm 47,000 years old. A lot of things we're learning tonight.
And apparently you were also Franklin Delano Roosevelt, according to Logan Sargent Fanboy. I'm not sure how we've drawn to that conclusion. Why not? Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
You actually got the wrong wizard. You've got the wrong Eternal Wizard, unfortunately. That was not me. I was not FDR.
What is going on? What is happening? All I know is Brian Clementi's on pole position for the time being for the red plate drivers. The number 100 has given it his 100 so far and landed himself at the top.
Oh, yeah, through sunset, that one just plunged me into the darkness. Brian Clemente, the 14 car, is very, very quick and has been just a little bit on the other section with kind of their own mistakes. And again, much like Marco Yatanashi, it is just being unlucky. And that's what happens on the GT4s, I notice, is the accidents can be a lot different than the GT3s, where you just don't have the opportunity to save it as much. Once it's gone a lot more than it is. And normally the damage isn't too bad, but Brian Clemente overtaking Fallis there, who seems to have given up on their lap. 57 seconds remaining in qualifying. Fallis will probably get to the line in time. And yes, I didn't do anything for America then.
Fair enough. And yes, it is getting dark out. However, I'm not going to change my graphic settings because watch it be a day race and then I have to change it back immediately. But the fact that I'm not changing my graphic settings means it's going to be a night race and I'm going to have to change it anyways. So that's just the toss and turns here as a commentator. We're gambling right now and we're hoping for the best. But one person that isn't gambling, Brian Clemente, he's assuring that he has his strategy down tonight and practicing his pit entry. Round of applause there to the number 100.
You know, Mike, I did not mention this, or didn't realize it during the GT3 stream. We had no pit violations. Everybody practiced their pit entries, and we had that. I just realized that. I think that's the first time in a while. I've said it before, and then it's happened at the very end. But Moriko Yatanashi on pole again for the rookies. The 53 car was hoping for a podium, and right now he stands at the top looking down.
Yeah, like a rocket all the way up to the top there. And nicely done. Moriko Yatanashi will get another chance, too, if they want. Doesn't necessarily need to commit at this stage. The other driver out on track is going to be the number 74 of Joe Fias, who in that KTM, the lawnmower, struggling to improve. 3/10 though so far, and looking potentially decent here through sunset, though. Gets massively unsettled over the curbage. And actually, I'm wondering if that's just latency. I think that was, I think Delta fell down a little bit there, but I think that was a visual more than an actual wobble. And what is Yatanashi's time? Moriko currently running at a 151.5.
Yeah, Yatanashi has been very, very quick on track. Has another lap here as Fallis. Yeah, I mean, that car, if it hits a curb, it is going to lose time in a massive, massive way. And I believe that is a pretty good... Sorry, I was looking at something else entirely, and I was wrong.
Vadik with a $10 dono. Thank you so much. Can I get my points back? Vadik, we can give you your full onboard lap. I can't give you your points back, but I can do you justice. And unfortunately, Jace Wright not in this session. But if you would like to pick, I should have done it. Is he? Is he?
Well,
where the heck is he?
I mean, he's in P2. Oh, I thought you meant like he wasn't driving.
Oh,
yeah,
he
we
is?
can get Jace Wright in the race.
Yeah. My bad. I didn't even see him up at the top. My apologies.
Yeah,
I'm blind.
Yeah, he might be blind, but Jace Wright is really blinding a star so far. But we've got Fallis. He'll remain in position. That'll be the end of qualifying. If you see the full board, I'll move the here slightly.
And a fun and of course it's night. Of course it's night.
We've been consistent about that lately. We gambled and we lost, Mike.
We did. Unfortunate. You hate to see it, but at the end of the day, who really cares? Not me. Either way, 45 minutes on the clock, Carson. We have 22 drivers. I wasn't expecting you to say anything, to be honest. We have 22 drivers on the field, and let's get in and meet all of them out there tonight. Starting us off at the top, it is going to be Dan Ironman Brace, the number 46 Aston Martin, lining it up at the front row, and it is an Aston Martin lockout. Jace Wright in the Academy Motorsports taking home P2 for the time being. Justin Beachley, third quickest, and trying to get his redemption here tonight. He finished in P3 last week and looking to make that a P1. Casey Schutte, the 444 in P4. Some say that's fate. Others might say otherwise. Mason Perchalski, fifth position for the number 10 Garage 56 Camaro with JP Reed in the KTM, the highest running KTM here tonight in P6. Potts Weaver, seventh quickest for the number 13 Potts Autosport with Professor Cronotis in P8. The number 42 T Swizzalicious AMG. Scott Sullivan coming home in P9 for the Aston Martin, and Joseph Bammert coming home in P10 for the number 51.
P11 rather will be Joseph Bammert, or is it P12?
Randy Gross.
It's showing up differently. I think somebody's just gone somewhere else, but Randy Gross will be P12, or really?
11.
Is it? Oh my gosh, it's showing up differently on everything. Okay, Randy Gross will be P11, Nicholas Mendez will be 12, Alex Freeman in the American Machine will be 13th, with Moriko Yatanashi starting in 14th, the pole of the red plates. Brian Clementi in 15th, 16th will be George Elmer, trying to make it stick like glue, a bit of a recovery drive for him. He's got more pace than that position has shown. Jeff Frank's going to start in 17th, 18th will go to Jacob Church, Joe Kalilan 19th, with Spady Budd trailing them. 21st will be Joe Follis, and Riley Dutchy will be 22nd. Not to cut you off, I just didn't to give you that section there. I think I deserve the extra too, because I absolutely botched it. Needed a bit of recovery drive myself.
All good.
There.
All good. We got plenty of time here before we get into it. The sexy sack still rolling for another 35 seconds, and Jace Pace right. I actually like that. What do you mean you don't? That wasn't. I like Jace Pace right. That's pretty good. Although Jace Never Wrong Right is also decent, so I'll give you that one. But either way, we have 22 drivers on the grid here lined up. It is two classes in the field, both red and white plates. Moriko Yatanashi starting us off at the top for the reds, and Dan Brace for the white plates. Lined up at the front row, it's an Aston Martin lockout, and we have a full onboard lap redemption as well for Professor Chronotis.
Yeah, England may not have brought it home in the Euros, but they could bring it home tonight. Both manufacturers are on pole for that section there. You've seen a lot more AMRs atop the grid. In the GT4s, they weren't really that often in the GT3s, but in the GT4s, they're liked. And Carson, do you prefer Ariana Grande or rocket ships? The age-old question. I think I'm going to go with rocket ships on this one. I like Ariana Grande, but I'm actually not a fan of more of her recent stuff. It's just, rocket ships to me, I think they're pretty cool, you know? Apollo 11. Apollo 12. I don't know anything about rocket ships, I'm going to be honest, but they are pretty cool.
Yeah, I got the Lego Saturn V chilling over there. You can't see it, but, you know,
I have no idea.
It does exist. It's a big rocket.
Big rocket?
It's a very big rocket.
I don't.
And it also was the Apollo 11 mission, if I'm not mistaken. The Saturn V.
Just got a bedtime
I'll get
reminder.
fact checked on that one. Chat, let me know. It was. Look at that. Pulling facts out from nowhere. See, there's your fun fact right there. We've had quite a few redemptions. The Saturn V is awesome. It is a really, really cool and successful rocket that was extremely complicated for its time, but very basic when you look back at it. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's super interesting in that section, as I'm not too familiar with it, and a lot of people are, and I understand why. It is an engineering marvel, kind of running into racing as it is engineering, I think, is a lot of the things that people find cool, and I don't find the math cool, but I did just get a bedtime reminder, and I think on that note, folks, make sure you tune in for the next 45 minutes, because it'll be anything but sleepy. We've got tons of action-packed sections here. I want to highlight it one last time before we start the championship battle. Justin Beachley and Mason Pierchowski with Professor Chronotis trailing right now. Those are the three drivers to watch. They're on top, but Casey Shude is just 20 points behind and could get himself into the argument here, that 511 machine.
Yeah, certainly can. Also, I didn't know that they can't build it because the plans are lost. That's insane. If you are interested, by the way, in learning more about the Saturn V, I'd highly recommend checking out Smarter Every Day's video on the Saturn V. If you have a couple hours to waste and are interested in learning about rocket ships, it is a great watch.
Why are we really surprised that I'm here? I don't know why we're really surprised that I'm here. There's no tornado this week, if that's what we're referencing. It's been a rough week last week, Mike. There was, if you were curious about that, there was 17 confirmed tornadoes in my area, so quite the spin cycle, and we'll hope to see anything but that for these drivers up in front. Don't want to have their races ruined by anything spinning on the other end. We'll hope for some good racing. Dan Brace on pole, Jace Wright trailing, him making his season debut on the front row.
Certainly is, and we appreciate all the chats. I am reading them, and I will check out the N1 rocket after this stream. But we got action ahead of us here. We don't got any time for that right now. One mandatory pit stop ahead of us. 45 minutes on the clock. 2x2 Noah's Ark formation before we get into the rolling start here. Dan Brace up at the top with Jace Wright company in P2. I'm Mike Nause. Joined with me tonight is Carson Kass as we approach the line and the second board here tonight. Before we cross it and go green, 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 and head down to the kink, which is quickly going to turn into Crowthorn. It's about a dead even heat right now, and Dan Brace making hay while the sun isn't out. Gets a very great launch. Now down onto the brakes, gets it locked up in time. It seems he is going to be able to hold on, but it actually goes a little bit deep, allowing Jace Wright onto the back attack. Not going to happen, though. Casey Schutte goes deep, allowing Justin Beachley through, and JP Reed making up a position early on over Mason Prochowski. Battling going on as Professor Chronotis goes to the outside of Potts Weaver. This position is undecided, but needs to be resolved before they reach sunset.
Yeah, the sun has already set, so it won't be the blinding light that we see here, but tons of high beams here, and it's going to be very interesting. A lot of these drivers thrive in night races, some don't. Day and night can be completely different, like day and night, to some drivers' pace. It'll be interesting here. Potts Weaver in 8th right now. That number 13 car has had really all over the grid throughout this section, and has been just a bit of crashes for them, and throughout the section, there'd be one driver to watch through this as they chase Professor Chronotis. Trying to get just right through here, the 42 car chasing Mason Pierchowski now for the championship lead and the, the championship class and the position lead there. Someone goes way wide. That's an Aston Martin Bammert or Sullivan. It's Bammert that's gone wide. He's passed by Sullivan through turn 11.
Yeah, gets that done pretty handedly for Scott Sullivan. Behind that, Brian Clemente holds on to the P1 for now in the red plates. However, Spady Bud is looming in the mirror. Is falling off the back, though, early on. Has Morko Yatanashi to contend with if he isn't going to be too careful. Up ahead, Chronotis still trying to work his magic now on to Mason Prochowski. We were talking about Druids. Can he work up some form of spell? I don't know. I'm not sure. Professor Chronotis, he's fallen off the back right now. And Mason Prochowski, we've seen the defense that he can put on in the past.
Yeah, not to mention his car is about 45 feet wide. Sometimes it feels when you're going through the corners. That Mustang, I did what you did in the reverse. That Camaro is extremely hard to pass when you're turning, and you have to take an alternative line, and it's not that fast here, especially at Kyalami. You're going to have good opportunities right in this turn. He can't really capitalize behind him, but behind him, Randy Gross capitalizes on the McLaren's pace. He goes 11th overall. Freeman backs down as we've also got Mendez, but through barbecue, that McLaren trying to get right behind.
Oh, I'm not sure what is going on in chat either. Did I fall out of a coconut tree? I don't know, Logan. You're a nut that is crazy in the coconut. That's all that I know. And so is Brian Clemente, or rather, should I say, that's Nicholas Menendez going for a move in sunset. Absolute insanity, but he makes the job look easy.
Yeah, Nicholas Menendez has been extremely rapid in that Porsche and has found maybe not the best spot that he's normally in, but again, still making the magic happen with an overtake there. The 756 car going to be chasing towards 10 and 11, and I think with how his pace has gone, he might make a move through Mineshaft. Behind them, Joff Franks under pressure from the Jägermeister Elmer machine. Whew! He almost goes to the back end, gets a good look down the inside. He'll try and make it work, but Franks is able to take the racing line. He'll get better paces. Elmer now under threat from Follows behind. The Costa Rican driver trying to get everything he can out of this car. The 74 machine just doing everything he can, but just can't get any, energy out of this car.
Yeah, Joe Fias trying to go defensive onto Joe Khalil, and it's a battle of the Joes, and holy smokes, who is Joe Khalil going for an early vacation? He has found himself pretty much in, Madagascar.
Yeah, slides right off there down to 22nd. The 26 car is unfortunately disappeared down the order, as the camo will suggest. If you can't even see the car, it just seems to be floating high beams. There's Joe Follis, the 74 machine. Looks like he's got... No, he doesn't have that overtake hit. I just completely missed on the scoreboard. He is under threat, though, from a different drive, a completely different class, the red plate. Under threat from the white plate here, as Follis has some good pace and is beating some white plates. And I think we see that happen a lot. We see a lot of white plates contending in the red plates in this area.
Yeah, it's very nice to see. It gives a little bit of a competitive edge to everybody around, and I love this. Say it ain't so, Joe. That breaks. No, I don't think I will. And I'm not sure I have a favorite Chapel Roan song. I haven't listened to them enough to even name one off the top of my head, unfortunately. But I know Carson does have a favorite.
Phenomenon is my favorite right now. It kind of changes daily at this point, but I listened to it a lot today. Listened to it while I worked out today. Potts Weaver trying to make it work out here with Cornotis ahead, and he just keeps losing that pace in front of us. Oh my goodness, Ja Frinks has sidelined Spady Bud, gets into the side of him, and that T-bone is definitely going to leave him damaged. Ja Frinks going to go off as Fallis off, sliding into that wall. What has happened here, Mike?
Oh, it's mayhem, and there's millions and millions of dollars strunks amongst the S's. What has happened? So this is going to be Joe Fias arriving to the scene of a crime. He's shown up to a parking lot at much too high speeds. That is what yellow flags are for, folks, and that's why you don't ignore them. But everybody else getting caught out. I think there was contact. Spady Bud got spun by somebody, and regardless, that was rather unfortunate and a bit of a avoidable incident, if you ask me.
Well, I don't know. I think it happened really close in front of him. I mean, that car got sideways. Spady went sideways real quick as Fallis Khalil with a jump. Some rallycross moves from him. The 26 car just got some serious airtime and is currently winning that battle.
Yeah, that was, racking up the frequent flyer miles for the Cali Camo. Definitely a bit aggressive there at the very end. And what are my red flag? Do you mean, like, romantically speaking? This isn't the time or place, Adam Strange. There's no red flags in this race. We're in sim racing here. We don't got red flags to contend with.
Yeah, we've got, luckily, no red flags. I think there's some incidents that we've seen that have instantly figured out. But Viper GT3, they've subscribed for 12 months, Mike. That's almost a year. Thank you very much for the sub. Keeps the support going. Whew, we got so many subs today. I want to say just a quick thank you to everybody who has subbed tonight. If we've missed it, I don't think we have, but congrats on the gifted subs if you get to watch TRACKILICIOUS ad-free as Scott Sullivan goes right on the other side. Almost a free position for him. The number 51 car goes a bit wide, and Scott Sullivan pounces on it in the Honda F1 Concept AMR.
And Nojo Johnson, welcome to TRACKILICIOUS.
Yeah, Nojo Johnson, you did mention earlier what determines a white plate and a red plate. We'll get to that right here as we've got white plates and really quickly, 55, that's Randy Gross in the Project 5 Apex Motorsports machine trying to find his way through, but he's going to have to take a weird line through Crocodile. Has to let that Aston Martin by, and he's got a McLaren now on his inside line towards Cheetah. Something's got to give here, and it's going to be that McLaren who has to go nip and tuck behind Randy Gross.
Yeah, Alex Freeman almost gets a little backed up as well into Brian Clemente, and Adam Strange with a 50 bits. Thank you so much. Can I watch all 7 seasons of the Star Wars Clone Wars and show an in-depth review of them for 50 bits? I'm not so sure about that. That's a lot of time.
I've watched all 7 seasons, like when I was really young, so it was a good show. And putting on a good show here, Alex Freeman nearly on that inside line, just doesn't have enough room. The McLaren didn't get enough pace on that exit, but it's a 4-5-way battle, I'd say, for 9th place. Adam Strange, 100 more bits. This
600 more bits. Thank you so much, Adam.
Oh my.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You've got some stuff on the watch list, it seems.
That's a long watch list. You know, I had Initial D on the watch list, and then it got removed off of Crunchyroll as soon as I started watching it. So that was my one anime that I've ever seen gone away at before I even had a chance to take advantage of it, to be real.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. I've yet to even see more than clips on social media about that show, and I don't know. I'm not a big TV show or movie watcher when I'm by myself. And I just don't know. I just kind of inhale information when I'm off stream. I just scroll through Wikipedia or scroll through social media. And my social media is kind of just numbers and things that are just pretty odd. But Mike Freeman, oh my goodness. Or that's Alex Freeman, rather. Right on the inside line of Scott Sullivan, just made a move where it wasn't any space. But he, I guess he just made some space there. No contact, but he sent the envelope and sent it. Then he made contact towards Mineshaft. Into Crocodile. Scott Sullivan gonna have to take an inside line there. Almost good contact with the McLaren there, but they go wide. Now there's 2 McLarens side by side behind them. Alex Freeman, though, able to keep him ahead. And towards Cheetah, something has to give, and it's Alex Freeman again, unfortunately.
Yeah, doesn't quite make it stick just yet, but still has 35 minutes to go. Whoops, I have hit a wrong button. There we go. Let's not pay no mind to the man in front of the curtain. Let's move the stream deck away from my hand so I don't push any more buttons. And Stream Espresso, now I've been dead to Adam. Adam, if I watched one episode, would that make you happy?
I think the in-depth review of that one episode has to be included, because I think that's
I can do that.
what they asked for.
I can do that. That's fine.
That's I feel like we should do that. I feel like we could do it together. I actually think that'd be a good project for us to work on, Mike.
Oh, I think that's what Adam will do. I'll do one episode, Adam. That's the limit that I'll go. If I do get hooked, I do get hooked. Adam has some very high standards. I will not deny that.
And for a man with high standards, I'm very glad that you are spending your time with us at TRACKILICIOUS. Some high standard stream quality here, as you can tell. But Brian Clemente on the other end, the 100 car, just keeping it 100% throughout this turn and is just pushing a bit too hard. Clemente doing everything he can to get himself ahead. But speaking of everything he can, Casey Schutte is right behind the number 14 or 24 car. It's 444 machine in 4th place. It seems like whatever number he's got, he's always in that spot. So we've got 4,444. If that was on your bingo card tonight, chasing Beachley with JP Reed, who's closed the gap ahead. And we have got quite the shuffle sandwich for 2nd place.
Yeah, we do. No positions have changed so far, which is very interesting. Dan Brace has not moved, or in the top 4 this is. Dan Brace stayed where he is, Jace Wright as well, and Justin Beachley. We also have a couple onboard laps, I've just remembered. Jace Wright being one of them. I think now would be a decent time to do so, as he is on the defense for the time being. We'll stick on board with him for an entire lap. As the action continues behind, you can see a lovely launch, though, gets away like a bandit down to the 1st corner and is under absolutely no pressure from Justin Beachley.
Yeah, Beachley just seems to not be able to keep up with that Aston Martin in a straight line, probably because he's doing a little defending behind. As Follis goes right on the racing line, as Schutte goes wide, actually. The 444 car loses the position to the 15 ahead. That's 3/10 instantly. Not quite sure what happened there, but now Jace Wright and Beachley a little bit on an island, not quite as far as Madagascar from each other. But the 24 will have to find a way to defend. He goes right on the curb towards Sunset, trying his best to keep on the line directly. And he does an excellent, excellent job headed towards clubhouses. Bit of a bump there, but it will be a perfect turn through Sunset.
Yeah, just about. And Nojo Johnson also pointing out that the manufacturer difference in the top 5, is top 6 rather, 2nd through 6th, is all different cars. You love to see all the manufacturers, plus a McLaren down in 8th. Adam, I would, if I enjoy it, I may, but I also, it's all about time. I appreciate the recommendation, and I will give the 1st episode a watch. Carson and I will also do an in-depth review, but it'll be hard-pressed for me to watch a whole season, just, again, based off of time alone. I wish I could watch a whole season of something. Make the time.
Make time.
Adam, it doesn't work like that as an adult. I hate to break it to you. Adulting doesn't quite work like that.
Yeah, neither does casting, really, for you especially. Mike can be found in many, many places as Casey Schutte putting pressure on there. Can't get the overtake around Crocodile. You'll have to go nip and tuck through Cheetah and try and get a run on Fallis. There's some dirt kicked up. I'm not quite sure what happened ahead, but I got some theories that it is a rear tire going off of the 2 and 3rd. And yeah, I mean, it's Mike does a lot of casting for a lot of different places. You can catch him at Williams and SRO now, correct?
Yeah, Williams and SRO are the main places that you can find me. Otherwise, mainly here at TRACKILICIOUS as well. Thank you very much as well to Wake Nuts XX Wake Nuts XX. What a name! My goodness, that is that one brings back memories. Also, Aaron Miller, thank you as well for the sub. I meant to mention that earlier, but Aaron Miller, Viper GT3, one of the lovely workers here at TRACKILICIOUS, I guess you could call him, but one of the admins, of course, at TRACKILICIOUS, and does a lot of hard work for us here.
Definitely in contention for the award we mentioned last night, Underpaid Worker of the Year. I don't know how I just remembered that, but pretty interesting award we do not have here at TRACKILICIOUS. Casey Schutte, the number 444, is one of the workers here. He does a great job as well, keeping this community afloat and just trying to keep himself afloat, with Joe Follis kind of consuming dirt in that KTM's wide grill ahead and just getting an extra pace as he picks up some dirt. Whew. Those rear tires nearly got loose, and everyone behind him seems to have actually followed that line.
Yeah, just about, and nobody going off. one thing here, we are about 15 minutes into the session, 30 minutes remaining. We are getting maybe close to the pit window. Now, I don't expect the undercut to necessarily work out too much here at Kyalami. However, it's certainly on the cards, and this would be a little bit early. And Adam, thank you so much for your continuous support, by the way. And again, we will see. That's all I'll leave it at. I'm not going to make any promises in regards to that, but I will promise you that we will watch episode 1 and review that. That is as far as I will promise. And now, as I say that, wow, I wasn't actually expecting to foreshadow that one into a reality, but Casey Schutte, he pulls the trigger for the undercut.
Yeah, and a lot of different strategies go into work here, and it can work, can not work. It'll depend based on just really how fast your pace is, and if Casey Schutte comes out in clean air, he might have a good chance to get back towards the podium, but we've got a lot of different strategies that play out here, and we don't think it makes that much difference in a 45-minute race, but we've seen it make a difference in a 75-minute race, just 30 minutes longer, and we had a 10-second difference between the leader and second place because of it. So, I wouldn't quite say it doesn't matter, but it's a little less impactful with 30 less minutes as we've got a sandwich here towards 7th place. All 3 drivers fighting for it. Scott Sullivan now towards the rear of Randy Gross after a bit of an incident earlier. Healy's doing a great job to catch back up.
Certainly is. And again, we do thank you so much for the support, and we are listening. And Walknuts is what a name. And that's Wade G from the Rookie Series. Wade Georgeson, good attempt out there today. Hopefully you have better luck in the next sessions. It was a little bit of an unlucky one for you, but I'm glad to see you here in chat, and I hope you had a great time as well.
Yeah, it is true, and did a great job. One of our few Australian drivers. I'm kind of curious. We've got a lot of Australians, a lot more than I would expect, because it is very, very early for them, I believe. I'm not quite sure. Maybe it's not that early.
I think it's like 1, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's about afternoon for some of the Aussies.
Just absolutely sent it. Scott Sullivan on the inside. Goodness. And he's got a good run against Randy Gross. He'll keep and try and make it go just a little farther towards Mineshaft, but he got a long side and through, but just didn't get the exit towards Crocodile left to see if he can make a move. I'm going to guess not, because he's got the Great Wall of Camaro in front of him.
Yeah, and making it another attempt as he gets down into Sector 3. The final corner is potentially on the cards, and it's 9:30 a.m. Assuming you're in Western Australia then. Yeah, there we go. That's root, paper, scissors. So yeah, I mean, Australia is massive. And there we go. Both drivers electing for a pit stop. I'm surprised Alex didn't do the opposite of Scott, but he feels that he's quicker, and just in general, I think he's going to be trying to get out faster of pit lane. He was right on the bumper on entrance. He gets stopped first, but is that going to make the difference? Scott Sullivan needs to make the stop perfect. Seems like he does. Now it's going to be up to the strategy call, and do they take tires?
Yeah, it's very, very interesting to see, because if you take tires, at some tracks it's amazing, but at a night race at Kyalami, we'll have to see if it is worth it. I know it was the last time we were here in the GT3s, but again, entirely different class with completely different cars despite the same manufacturers. These cars drive in a completely different manner, and you mentioned that a little bit earlier. You're driving like a real car instead of a car suctioned to the ground where you have to hit a certain speed to stay on the ground and all that stuff with aerodynamics. We don't do any of that here. We just put a spoiler on it and we send them out there.
Yeah, very little in terms of the under tray when it comes to downforce. There's no fancy schmancy splitters and fancy ducting on the back and all those little tiny canards and sticky outy bits that you see. This is all about the raw pace and the raw control of the car, and that's what we're here for the GT4s.
Yeah, and I absolutely love GT4 racing. Every Monday I look forward to it. It's just electric stuff here, as you've got Spady Bud, who had an incident earlier in this very turn with Jeff Franks, who's behind them. The 21 car is very glad to have not been pit maneuvered again, and will stay ahead for now, but I'm very curious. This battle will go on with Jeff Franks and watching Joe Khalil approach in the rearview mirror. Some white plates who were involved in some less than savory incidents and some pit stops behind these two.
Yeah, and the first of our pit runners is actually Justin Beachley, who elected for that early undercut. Casey Schutte also joining the party. Joe Fias, no tires selected for Justin and Casey. Scott Sullivan and Alex Freeman both elected for it, and Scott Sullivan came out 1.3 seconds ahead.
Yeah, and that's trying to beat a guy in the pit lane, and you can't really do that with Scott Sullivan, who's extremely experienced, knows what they're going to do, and normally gets those strategy calls right. The only real place that you can beat him is on paper, and rather on paper and on pace. But Scott Sullivan is a lot more than paper. Puts in unbelievable hours to practice, not as much anymore. Remodeled his bathroom. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of fun facts about Scott Sullivan. But the 43 car has been a long time grid member here, and we very much appreciate him. The Honda F1 concept car will probably stay ahead of Freeman, though, with just based on raw pace.
Yeah, at this point, it seems to be that way. And what's my favorite Star Wars movie? It's episode 3, the first one. I'll be honest, it's the first one is legitimately the only one that I've ever seen, and I'll just out myself on that one. I've only seen that one, and it was quite good. I mean, I had nothing against it. I've just never particularly gotten into Star Wars, and I don't really have an explanation. I was never a Harry Potter kid. I was never, okay, clearly Carson is not happy with that.
I didn't mean to do that. I hit something else.
But no, I've never been into Star Wars, Harry Potter, even like Lord of the Rings or anything. I'm just, as Carson said earlier, I'm not much of a movie/TV show guy, to be completely honest.
Apparently, I'm much more than you are, because I didn't read Harry Potter or watch Harry Potter as a kid. I was one of those kids that like, for no reason at all, was just hating on Harry Potter, even though I had no idea what it was about, other than there was like a kid under the stairs and there was like an owl. But I really don't know anything about that stuff, and I actually think it's just completely fine. I don't know anything about it. I just know I hated it when I was 8. James Pierre Reed, though, coming from towards the back, closer to 8th than he was now in 3rd, has that podium spot for now, hasn't pit yet. The 15 car chasing Jace right down, though. That is a KTM hawking down an Aston Martin, something you don't hear too often.
Only Rux? What is Rux? Or Drive to Survive? Rush. Oh, Rush. Okay, yeah. Only dude, honestly, though, true. Like, low-key. Rush was so good.
I don't know if that new movie can top it, but I'm very excited to watch the new movie. It looks not bad. I'm really worried about the plot, because I can't even lie. I'm gonna go out and say it. That opening scene where Brad Pitt was like, "We have to build the car for battle" or something. That sent me over the edge. I could not stop laughing. I cringed so hard at it. But yeah, I really hope that movie's good. And with how movies have been lately, we can just really hope it's probably a 50-50 chance.
I mean, Lewis Hamilton's directing the movie, so you know the racing scenes are going to be good, and that's all I really care about.
I feel like Lewis Hamilton could write a pretty good story.
I think he's producing, not directing.
He should direct it. I don't know. I feel like I'd trust Lewis Hamilton to make a movie. He's a very entertaining guy off track. I feel like he could write. I feel like he could have a good element to the script to make it interesting. I feel like he's watched a lot of movies. I don't know. That's what I feel.
JP Reed into pit lane, elects to go for it early on here. Jace Wright, Dan Brace stay out, and I actually don't watch any TikToks. I don't have TikTok, and I don't browse Instagram that often either. I'm not a social media guy. You might be saying, well, Mike, what the heck do you do? And it's like, well, I do things with my life. Like, yeah, Nause said, no, I don't. No. But if you want to see the other things that we do, we post things on social media. We do a lot of things here, and again, I commentate in quite a few different places. So yeah. Yeah,
I'm quite the opposite. I do dabble in TikTok. I do have my own TikTok that I'm setting up. I do have some sports content on there. If you're interested in that, I'll promote it when it's ready, but not yet. Jace Wright doing an excellent job there. He's got clean air in front of him, and we'll just keep digging here at Kyalami through Sunset. Is that back tray hit the ground real hard? An explosion of sparks lights up the night, and Jace Wright will be quite all right.
Yeah, not too much of an issue. We also had a fully onboard lap earlier from Professor Chronotis. Heck, why don't we just jump on board right now? There's not too much in terms of battling happening, and where is Chronotis going to come out? Looks like he is going to come out in 11th ahead of Joe Fias. Joe still yet to make his pit stop. He's going to be about 3.5 seconds behind Professor Chronotis, 4.5 seconds behind Casey Schutte. No tires taken as well for Professor Chronotis. Casey Schutte, no tires. JP Reed, also no tires, but everybody else seems to be going for the set of boots. Moriko Yatanashi, also no tires.
What you're hearing right now, and the only real justice I can do is to stop talking, which I won't, is the beautiful GT4 Mercedes engine. It produces right about 405, right somewhere between 400 and 510 brake horsepower, as it is a bit mysterious on some of these race cars, as they don't publish the correct information, as there's a car off ahead at some point picking up some dust, but Chrono is keeping this car right on the edge. You can see he knows the points, he knows where to shift down gears, he knows when to shift down gears or when to shift up. very intelligent driver, very intelligent human being, honestly. And Carnotus will keep digging on track. I think he's going to end up closer to a podium spot than he started. He's been having a great race and stayed out of contact so far.
Yeah, certainly. And actually has 503 brake horsepower. At least that's what I have in my notes. I think that was what I found on the official AMG website, at least for the spec page. All of my car stats I tried to get off of the actual manufacturer's website, though let's be completely honest, some of them are slightly inflated, and I definitely am aware on some of it. I wrote them down anyways. I'm not going to question it.
Yeah, it's the official marking, so I'm going to say what the official team says the car does, whether it looks like it or not, and whether it is or not. But one car that doesn't have it listed publicly is the Ford Mustang, which I assume is just because it's a new car and whatever on it. But yeah,
I still don't understand,
it
though.
Matters. It doesn't matter. It's kind of a weird piece of the key of the car.
The Corvette, though, we have all of the stats for, and it was added around the same time as that GT3 Mustang. So honestly, I just think Ford is being Ford and trying to be, like, annoying. I don't know. I'm honestly not too completely sure.
Ford's racing team started out of spite, so I just don't really... I don't know. I mean, their endurance racing team started legitimately out of spite over Enzo Ferrari, so it's a characteristic from Ford, I would have to say. If you've ever seen that Ford vs. Ferrari movie, on the topic of those movies, probably my favorite racing movie ever. Russia's great. I think that movie is better personally, but quite the movie out here for some of these folks here. Is Jace Wright approaching the back bumper of Dan Brace. Brace was in first initially, and Wright was in second. And these two are dueling it out now as he's gotten that pit strategy right and is much closer to Brace than he was at his stop.
Yeah, Dan elected for a set of boots. Now, is that going to make the difference in the long term? We'll have to see, because Jace Wright's pace is pretty good. He's got warm tires. He's up to speed. Dan Brace, he's fresh out of pit lane. He has to get them up to temp, but by this stage of the track, I'd imagine his tires are going to be mostly shipshape and ready to go. And Dan Brace, I think, is a matter of time before he starts to gap Jace Wright.
Yeah, and Jace Wright... very quick driver, but it's tough to be quick on hard rubber, or rather old rubber, as he goes a bit wide at Cheetah, doesn't touch the grass. Keeps it all together. The 24 car really close in that back end, though. Had to brake a little more to avoid Brace. Wow, I had no... Wow, Jace Wright probably could have got the overtake there if he saw what was coming, but unfortunately Brace just broke in the wrong spot. Wasn't ready. But this battle for the podium is not quite over. Jace Wright behind them is Follis and Reed, or rather Reed and Shude behind. Follis is the other KTM on track in the red plates.
Yeah, Joe Fias currently leading the red plates, but yet to make his pit stop. Behind him, Joseph Bammer will take... No, excuse me, not Joseph Bammer. Brian Calenti will take the lead of the red plates, the number 100 with Moriko Yatanashi not too far behind. The car directly behind them is not, but he is not far away. Or excuse me, that's Alex Freeman ahead. So Brian Clementi, he's got himself into a decent situation here. He just had a fresh set of boots strapped on, and behind him, Moriko Yatanashi, no fresh rubber. So it's going to have a lot of work here for Moriko, but the pace still in the favor, at least if you look at the fastest lap. Actually, I take that back again. Brian Clementi, he's showing something different here today, and something that we haven't seen in a while from him.
Yeah, to be honest, it is quite interesting. The lights are off for that Aston Martin ahead. I do want to point that out ahead of Bammert's lights are off. I'm not quite sure why that is. As a quick reminder, I don't think that's legal, but Bammert's lights are off. The black and orange flag was leaving behind. I think he's going to need to turn those lights on soon, or else he will be receiving a penalty very, very soon. The 51 car, maybe it was intentional, maybe it wasn't, but I will guarantee that that's not legal as he picks up some of those rubber pellets on the left side.
I think he just turned his lights back on. Yeah.
Yep. And is illegal, so just keep that in mind. We'll have to see how the stewards view that. Maybe it was just an accidental button press and was going through turns, never realized, but I think it's pretty hard to realize that your lights are not on. Justin Beachley, the 18 car, chasing Casey Shude now. Is this a battle for the top 5? This is really heating up. Professor Carnotus, or rather, it'd be the top 4. Well, no, it is the top 5 because everybody's pitted. Never mind, I entirely lied to you. Jason Pierchowski comes out in 6th place, right ahead of Professor Carnotus, which will be good for the championship standings, but not good enough to beat Justin Beachley, who sits atop, who will keep himself in the driver's seat if he maintains that spot there.
No headlights, permanent ban from the internet. Veg has spoken and the ban hammer has been wielded. Legal, not legal, who cares? Let's party. That is so not the philosophy to have regarding anything in life.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, and keep your headlights on, and it is a thing that people do where they turn their headlights off to confuse the driver ahead of them. And what that is just something you do in sim racing because it's not real, and it is, for lack of a better term, not the best thing to do in just terms of being respectful to everybody else on track. And I just want to go out and say that I do not support that, and that is something that you shouldn't do. Intentional or not, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. Justin Beachley, though, in P4 really hawking down Casey Schude, and these drivers are all together.
Yeah, and they're going to be continuing that for the time being. I don't see anything changing here. Every single one of these drivers is on old rubber. Dan Brace, by the way, pit in the lead, took new tires, and still remains in the lead. He is just that quick. I don't see anybody catching Dan Brace at this point. Jace Wright, he is just going to have to try to hold on for second place as JP Reed bites at the heels through Cheetah, and now rounding the final corner onto the start-finish straight. Can he get the run?
Yeah, the Commonwealth sister country for JP Reed here as he goes right on the inside together with right there. Is there going to be a bit of an unsettled agreement here towards the other section? They'll go side by side and through fake turn 1 into real turn 1. JP Reed, the 15 car, going to go on the outside line going for what he can. I'm not sure if he's on fresh rubber, but it certainly looks like it. He remains alongside. Headed to barbecue, they'll go side by side. The KTM, a rocket. I've never said that before. As they make contact. No, he's through barbecue, and unfortunately he gets charred. He'll jump back to the P4 slot there as Casey Schude will jump into the podium spot on that note with the Mercedes chasing behind of Beachley.
Yeah, he is going to be happy as ever with that move. And now biting at the heels of Jace Wright is Casey Schude. He's found himself a potential P2 here tonight, and maybe even more. If Dan Brace makes a mistake, or knock on wood, if he blows his engine up, we are at a higher altitude, it is possible. And I don't want to say Dan's necessarily known for that, but he has detonated that Aston Martin's V8 in the past.
Yeah, and speaking of an Aston Martin detonating there, a bit of a pace detonation for Jace Wright. It's completely lost the back end there. The 24 car manages to stay ahead through 10 and 11 amazingly. And yes, you can blow up the engine in this game, but it is very hard to do. And it is honestly more impressive than it isn't when it happens.
Yeah, typically the way that you blow up your engine, so one of the things with ACC is it has a rev limiter on these cars. It doesn't allow you to double downshift to get into that dangerous rev range. However, if you are locked up on your brakes, it's determined on your tires speed and how they're spinning in terms of if your rev limiter works or not. So if you lock your brakes up and try to downshift, it will downshift regardless of how quickly you're going. It does not matter what your revs are. It will plummet it down. You'll shoot over 10,000 and your engine will go kaput. And it's not the first time we've seen it. It's been a couple in the past. Devin Smallblock Anthony, notoriously known for blowing up the Camaro's V8, and the Aston Martin also detonated by Dan Super Rev Brace.
Yeah, Dan Brace ahead by quite the margin so far, so we'll just hope the engine stays all right and doesn't go kaput. But one man back in this race, JP Reed, right in there after this collision through barbecue. He's managed all right, as you can see that the pace of Jace Wright seems to be slowing and hampering everybody down because Reed was right back in there. It's a good sunset from all four. It's a bit wide for the Mercedes and the KTM, but they'll keep it clean headed towards Clubhouse. Pierre Reed, though, has a bit of an option here. He's going to go on the inside, maybe look for an overtake. Has a bit of pace. He's going to go maybe alongside, yes, alongside with Beachley, and he backs out there right at the end.
Yeah, smart move there from JP. Just trying to keep Justin honest for the most part here, as that isn't going to be the best move to make. Side by side, though, as Casey Schude takes P2. Jace Wright is slow, makes a mistake through the S's, and that's going to be JP Reed clobbering the backside of Justin Beachley, and he finds himself having a picnic in the grass. Needs to rejoin as quickly and safely as possible, but that is going to be 4 positions lost, down into 7th.
Yeah, and unfortunately that's a penalty for Pierre Reed, but That's really bad for Beachley. He just went from first in the championship all the way to third in a one single accident. And if you're curious, there, that's Justin Beachley, Professor Kronotis, and Mason Pierchowski, all within 6 points of each other, all less than one position in terms of points away. Mason Pierchowski in fourth right now, but your overall points leader. As Casey Shude also going to be one of those drivers who will catch up a little bit tonight if he can manage to stay ahead of all of them. But P2 right now looking a little bit dangerous. He got past Jace Wright earlier. He's got fresher tires, I believe. It seems so. Jace Wright, though, going to be challenging on the inside. He'll go alongside the Aston Martin 444. The third place for Casey Shude. He's going to have to go for a switchback here, but it's just not going to work, unfortunately. He might have another chance towards Barbecue. He's got fresher tires. He goes alongside again. Barbecue, he's got the inside line, forces right to the outside. Right, a bit wide, but he's going to keep it all right towards Sunset.
And they are on even tires, by the way. Both of these cars equal in the rubber. They have both came out with a dead even stop time, by the way. Exactly the same, both Jace Wright and Casey Shude. It's actually very impressive to have. And also, Carson, to help you out, restart your ACC TV. I forgot to mention that earlier. That's why your thing. But either way, Casey Shude on the charge. Jace Wright is going to be sweating just a little bit right now, and he is running out of time. 9 minutes, 50 seconds left before we reach the checkered flag. And behind all of this, Joseph Bammert, he is trying to find his way into the single-digit paying positions.
He's got the Project 5 car ahead of him. Or I guess the Project 5 car. I think I got that wrong. There's a number 5 after the letter the word 5, and I didn't ever realize that. It's Project 55 Apex Motorsports because it's number 55. He's never had the number 5, and I don't know how I never realized that. But the American driver is responsible for a bunch of beautiful liveries that are Project 55 themed, and the Apex Advisory is just one of them. The Camaro looking beautiful as the Aston Martin tries and chases behind him. Is the Aston Martin a little bit of a run towards Mineshaft as we we'll jump on that onboard lap a little later for Jace Wright.
Jace left right. I like that, actually. I think that's the best one yet. Whoa, and a very aggressive maneuver from the Aston Martin. Joseph Bammert sends it over to the racing line at Mach 3. Tries to find any sort of exit. Not going to get alongside, especially towards Cheetah. Ooh, clobbers the curb of Cheetah, in fact. Joseph, any advantage that he has found, well, that is going to be washed away. Now onto the start-finish straight, looking for the slipstream run, and that is going to be his best Sum 41 impression. He is in too deep.
I wouldn't quite say that right.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, Mike, he somehow had an amazing exit. Seems like he didn't slide the car. He just had a weird angle on the outside. He'll be on the inside through turn 2. Joseph Bammert, wow, he's just right there. I don't even know how he got there. The Camaro.
He's going to get by? No, he's not. Okay.
I apologize. I'm
he got by.
The Discord. Yeah, I don't know what just happened on my Discord. I apologize. I have no idea what just happened. It seems Joseph Bammert got by based on what you said. I will take another minute and try and fix this.
Yeah, Joseph Bammert somehow making the overtake stick there. That was a hard-pressed fight and kind of capitalizing off the back of nothing. Randy Gross almost making a mistake and almost making a couple mistakes there. Maybe not being aggressive enough on the defense. Regardless, Casey Shude, he's trying to make that, well, pretty much exact same scenario happen. We'll hop on board with Jace Wright as well. We'll at least get a half onboard lap. I'll try to do the full, but if anything else does arise, we will have to go to that. Casey Shude at the moment, though, is looming in the mirrors, and that is a bit of a mistake from Jace, but thankfully, Cheetah is not the corner to overtake.
Yeah, just you want to make the mistakes in the right spots. It's going to be hard to overtake on Cheetah. Side by side is a recipe for disaster, for a bit of an understatement here. As you're not in barbecue, but your car will end up cooked, and the engine will fall out if you take too much damage right on that other section towards Cheetah. As they head towards turn 2, though, Jace Wright in second place, under threat again from this Aston Martin. Blocks a little bit on the outside. He'll park the car right in the middle. Back towards the racing line he goes, but the Aston Martin's got the full racing line. Trying to go on the inside line. They're side by side, headed up the hill towards barbecue. Right alongside with the Aston Martin of Shude. The 444 car is through there, but Wright on the switchback attempt, he's alongside again. Towards Sunset, they're in the straightaway, and Wright can't seem to pull away as Shude does himself.
Lovely textbook move there from Casey Schutte, and Jace Wright going to be trying to respond back as quickly as possible. That isn't going to be the response he's looking for, though. He goes a little deep and almost again as he picked up some grass on the tires, miscalculating the traction there and almost steaming into the back of the Aston Martin. Got to be careful. Mason Przalski not out of the picture whatsoever. He might be joining this conversation soon enough if these two keep up the squabbling.
Yeah, and they've only got 6 minutes left, and I don't think they'll lose that much pace, but Mason will definitely get it if there's a bit of an accident between the two of these drivers. And Jace Wright and Case Schutte are very, very good drivers, but when you're locked in the midst of battle, especially at Kyalami, any mistake can be a big one, especially towards this section of the track here, towards Mineshaft, towards Crocodile.
Indeed. And Adam Strange, thank you so much for your support here today. 967 bits total, your last bit for the week. We appreciate you so much, Adam. Thank you. Back to the action, though, as Jace Wright. He is looming for a move, and he is running out of time. 5 minutes, 25 seconds. And again, Mason Przalski, he is in the rearview mirror and might potentially join the conversation, though he just got a very poor launch and has lost a bit of time. We'll certainly see. Kronotis also in 5th position right now, looking off the back of a win. I'm not sure it's going to be a podium tonight for the professor. He's going to have to do quite a bit of homework if he can do that.
Yeah, and the PhD, unfortunately, too strong for Professor Kronotis, as Beachley is just not going to be able to catch up. Not on his own accord, unfortunately, as Reed has ended up behind Beachley, ironically. I'm not sure where that happened, but I thought Reed was ahead of Beachley. Did he go off with the
yeah, we missed it.
Beachley? Oh, apologies on that, but he will fall down to 7th place, and I believe just due to unfortunate circumstances, we'll have to see what the stewards say about it, but might end up with a time penalty next week. But still a great race from that KTM. They've been rapid and unbelievably quick, and towards the top half once again, as they normally are.
Yeah, indeed. And behind that, we still have some battles going on that are worth noting, at least potentially. Brian Clementi and Alex Freeman, they're going to be having their scraps soon. Scott Sullivan also not too far behind. JP Reed is not catching Beachley, unfortunately. He does seem to be a little bit slower. That could be a result of damage or just a result of driving the lawnmower that is the KTM. I'm not completely sure. Honestly, either are a very valid option.
Yeah. And he did get the front end pretty damaged on that rear ending of Justin Beachley there. And I wouldn't be surprised if that is really hampering the pace. The KTM can lose a lot of pace when you damage those front aerodynamics. It's just mainly the grill that's being blocked, as the other section of the engine just can't produce as much power. And especially at Kyalami, it is producing the most pitiful engine power that it can in the entire game, if you were curious about that stat with the elevation we mentioned earlier.
Indeed. And what is my favorite YouTuber? And this Carson, I'm assuming Carson can also answer this. My favorite YouTuber is Northern Lion.
I'm actually a big Spoon Kid fan, and that's one that I don't think is going to be understood by a lot of people. Spoon Kid is a Rust YouTuber. I don't play Rust, but something about watching Rust, as I've heard Spoon Kid actually say this quote, is Rust looks so much fun when you watch it, and it is not fun at all to play.
Yeah, that's fair. I played Rust for a little bit, and I would agree with that statement.
If 2 hours on the game, no interest in ever playing it again. Sometimes I think about it, but I don't think about it for too long. It is it's brutal, and much like the track has seemed so far to Jace Wright, Sunset is just, it was good for him initially, but it's unfortunately become more and more unsettling for him as he loses time through that section. As I say, as he somehow has just rocketed the back bumper. He's been losing time, but he's got himself back in towards the battle. Is 2 minutes and 24 seconds. You're seeing Mason Przalski in the rear mirror, not getting too close. And yes, I actually have 500 hours on DayZ.
Fair. And yeah, for mine, I guess I'll give a little bit more lore since you did a bunch of lore. Northern Lion is the YouTuber that I've been watching since I was like probably 14 years old, so like for over 10 years. So it's just kind of the bread and butter, might you say, that I just kind of default to whenever I need a video to fall asleep to, or just, you know, want to chill out and watch a nice Northern Lion video. There's always that possibility, and yeah, great watch.
Great watch is Trackalicious, also a great watch. If you're interested in joining any of the championships, !SimGrid in the Twitch chat, and it'll bring up a beautiful link where you can come join the championship and jump in the Discord, have a little discourse about the races, and talk to the drivers if you would like, or become a driver. It's quite the fun situation to be in for some of these drivers right now, but it's not so fun for others. Khalil, we saw go off earlier, having a tough race as he chases Follis ahead in 1 minute and 15 seconds remaining. And this position overall will be under threat, but for now it looks like Khalil is stuck where he is in the white plates.
And XX, that's XX, thank you so much for the sub. And again, what a name. This is a battle, though. This battle might be more important than you might look at first glance. So we can see it's just a battle for P19, sure. However, the winner of this determines who the higher positioned Joe is on track, and that can mean a lot to drivers. This is both Joe Fias and Joe Khalil having their little bout. So this is a very important battle right now.
It is very, very true. On the outside line goes Khalil. Battle of the Joes there. I'm not sure Follis is going to be too keen on fighting him because he is an entirely different class. But speaking of the different class, we didn't mention that championship. But Mulikaie leads that 161, trailed by Brian Clemente, who will take the lead of the championship, or actually will not. Or will, yeah, he will. With 158 right now, Moriko Yatanashi sits in third with Joe Follis, the driver we're watching, in fourth.
Yes, indeed. And I would imagine Joe Fias is going to hold on to this. I don't see him giving this position up to Joe Khalil. Why not? There's nothing to lose. You got to see who the superior Joe is. If I was battling a Mike on track, I would do the exact same thing.
See, I just don't know if it's fully going through Joe's head, but they've been together for quite a long time. And
we missed it. The leader finished the race. I thought we had one more lap. Dang it. Dan Brace takes the race win. Casey Schutte comes home in second, and we are just absolutely terrible broadcasters tonight, Carson. My goodness.
It didn't even say the last lap. I think he crossed the line right at the 1 second mark, like right after it. So unfortunate for us, but I think he's probably slowed down a little to get there. Jace Wright, Casey Schutte will round out, but your P4 finisher, Mason Pierchowski, will take the lead of this championship, trailed by the 5th place driver, Professor Chronotis, who will go second, and third overall will be Justin Beachley. Basically, everything stays the same, but Pierchowski, I'm not sure if he realizes it, he is on top of the championship right now. Ali Raza missing tonight will statistically eliminate him from contention, and it's going to be quite an interesting one. James Pierre Reed will finish 7th overall. Wright will finish behind him, and quite the race we've had on this section. Wright will not finish behind him. It's just he's kept driving. Behind him will be, bear with me.
Well, before that, though, we do have also the red plate drivers. Brian Clemente does take the win for the red plates here tonight. Behind him, it's Moriko Yatanashi getting the podium that they wanted at the end of the day. A hard effort, but one that paid off. And third position belonging to Spady Bud. Or is it? This isn't actually decided yet. Joe Fias on the tail of Spady. It's going to be a drag race down to the end. Now, we all know the KTM is not necessarily the quickest in the straight line. It's going to be a tough ask for Fias, and it's not going to happen. Spady Bud holds the position. Joe in P18 and Joe in P19.
Yeah, good race from those two. A bit of a congratulations, a bit of a salute, I would say, for the Blinking Joe. Hopefully, I don't know what's happened between them. Hopefully nothing bad. But Brian Clemente will take the lead of the rookie plates with Moriko Yatanashi in a close second. Joe Fias, I believe, will either stay in fourth or move up to third, depending on where Frank's finished and where Frank's points iron out. But what an excellent race we just had. The GT4 Open, always a magical section here. We talked about Wizards earlier, and it seems someone's cast a spell on the series to just be entertaining every night.
That certainly has been entertaining, and Jace Wright turns 10 minutes before to steal my podium. He's the boogeyman. Yes, unfortunate, but you gotta put the work in to get the job done, and Jace, he has, in fact, done it here tonight. I've seen if Jace will join the Discord. Maybe we get the interview with him. Always like to do it in third to first, but we might have to skip the order here tonight. Also, what is one thing that I like about North Dakota? I don't know. Oil? Open fields? That's about the only thing I can think of with North Dakota.
North Dakota State University Bison football. I don't know. That's like the only thing I know that's there.
Excellent. And there is Doc Milwee in chat. Thank you so much, Doc, for being the constant lurker that you are. As we have it, though, we do have all three drivers in the podium room, and Carson, I think, has had a chance to catch up here with Jace Wright. Oh, there's Jace Wright, who I've pulled rudely out of a conversation.
Apologies for that one, Jace. But your first race in the GT4 Open Series, how did that go? Because you finished third place. You had a pretty good battle with a fellow AMR. What happened between you and Shooty to keep you on the back end of that podium? But a great race overall for you for your first time.
Yeah, the GT4s are really different. I made a couple mistakes after my pit stop, and I feel like with the setup I was using, I just shot my rear tires within like the first like 2 laps of the race. So I kept going off in the S's, and that's how he passed me. And I couldn't find a way past after that. I tried to make a move into the last corner, but he's just better. So that didn't work.
Yeah, if you were given a second chance, would you have taken tires on that pit stop?
No, no. If I was given a second chance, I'd probably just drive a bit smoother in my first stint because I had a chance to take the lead, but it fell away pretty fast.
Yeah, and Brace seemed to be kind of in their own league, and I don't think that's fully on you. You had a battle to deal with, obviously, in that other section. But Jace, is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Thank the Fuchsia boys and also everyone at Trackalicious for making this happen. I don't think I'd really be sim racing much if it wasn't for like a North American friendly time league. So thank you to you guys.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Jace, and good luck in your next sessions. Up next, Casey Shooty. We have Mr. Casey joining us once again. Casey, you seem to be making a habit out of this. What's going on?
Hey, we're finding some pace. It's nice to see an all Aston top three tonight. So yeah, no, we're finding some pace. The car felt good, then bad, then kind of good, but no, it's been fun. So we're having a good time. Some good battles there.
You sound like you got a smile on your face, and with coming off the back of last week, and the confidence is breaming, I would imagine. How do you feel going into the next race?
Pretty good. The car's feeling good. With this group of drivers, you never know. I mean, everybody's getting quicker. Lots of good battles. Jace all of a sudden showing up in GT4s tonight was a bit of a surprise. So yeah, you never know. I mean, Beach is quick, Chrono's quick. Everybody seems to be finding pace in these things. So it should hopefully be good for viewing for all those folks watching on Twitch.
I think it certainly was for the entire show here tonight. And Casey, you put on quite the one as well. Is there anyone you'd like to thank before we move on here tonight?
I will keep it simple. Just thanks to Trackalicious as always, and in particular Beachley managing the series. It's doing a great job, and again, all the drivers keep it up. Everybody's improving. Lots of good battles out there, so it's very, very fun and exciting.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Casey, and good luck in your next sessions.
Appreciate it.
Now, last but not least, I think Carson has had a chance to catch up with our race winner, Dan Ironman Brace.
Dan, you were, to be honest with you, I made an analogy about you being in Madagascar, I believe, at some point during the stream, and you were on your own island. It felt like 5 seconds between you and the 6th shooter in second place and third as Jace Wright. How did that one feel for you, man?
Pretty good. I think I had a good quali and a couple good laps there, and then I just wanted to make sure I had at least 6 seconds on Jace before pitting to take tires. If I didn't have that gap, I was just gonna leave the set on that I had. But he was pretty close to me coming out of the pits. I wanted to make it interesting.
Yeah, that you did. Was only there for a few seconds, and you were here, there, gone pretty quickly on that second stint, to be honest with you. Excellent race from you tonight. How are you faring, do you think, for the next round at I know this, at Zandvoort? How do you like that track?
Oh, I like that track. It's a pretty good track for me. Yeah, I should fare well, I think, on that track. We shall see, though. There's like I was talking to Shooty, who's You know, it seems like this season, a lot of folks are catching up in pace, so it's becoming more interesting.
Yeah, we've got so much varied pace, and I think it's pretty interesting the GT4 Open how much varied pace we just have, and it's a really good point, Brace. Brace, is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Just thank Beachley for running the league, and the stewards, and thank you guys for coming in.
Thank you very much, Dan. And yeah, he'll be going for the Brace next week, 2 in a row, hopefully for them at Zandvoort. 45 minutes coming up in a week, but I'm going to hand it off to you here, Mike.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Dan, and good luck in the next one. But on that, we are going to be moving on here, and I think we are going to be calling it. I've tried to find a raid in time, but I have not been successful because there are not many people streaming ACC. However, I think I have found one, a fresh one out on track. Yes, indeed we have. So we are going to be raiding Hershey Slayer. Is that? Yes, indeed. Hershey Slayer 96. But before we get to that, thank you all so much, by the way, for all the support here today. You guys have been absolutely amazing. You make all of these streams so much easier and just make them so entertaining the entire time. Everybody has been amazing. And we thank you all so much for your continuous support here at TRACKILICIOUS. It's really motivating and makes us keep doing what we're doing. But on that note, Carson, any final thoughts before we head on out before tonight?
No, Mike. As we know, I don't think too much.
Fair enough. Well, on that note, we are going to be ending it. I hope everybody has a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. Join us back next time for the Wednesday West Coast, or if you are looking for any events on SimGrid in the meantime, there's a link, Nightbot, on cue. As always, posting it. Head on over to the SimGrid to check it out. Join the Discord if you are looking for a community to hang out with. But I hope everyone has a lovely evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are in this fine world. Thank you, and good night.